I shouldn't be dropping frames anymore like crazy anyways. Does he know my Twitch channel?
Wait, I'm gonna send it to him.
I put it in chat there.
Oh, okay.
This is the wrong screen, but Osu. There we go. I was actually playing your map just before I noticed your message.
That's pretty good. Even though this map was like...
Dude, 5 Hammer is great. It's so good. We'll talk about it later. Is your friend in? Yep. Quite. No. Oh,
Okay.
misclick.
I kind of messed up. I messed up.
You messed
I
up.
was
You messed
saying...
up this time. You messed up this time.
I was saying like, yeah, this is like this map was just a fucking troll. But
Dude.
apparently it worked out.
Dude, it's great. It's freaking great.
Thank you.
When's your friend joining? Oh, come on.
I actually don't. No, wait. I'm gonna ask him. Wait.
My Twitch dashboard is like really
Oh,
buggy. I think it's working now.
but like it is pretty. I don't know if he's gonna talk, but like he probably tell me to say stuff for him.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's, but like he's kind of mad at the new type of maps that get ranked too, so.
Oh yeah, dude, you don't even know. Like, we have so much material to talk on. Like, it's gonna be great. Let me get a link for you for later. You know, we're gonna refer to some material I made here.
Holy shit! There's already like 15 FCs and 17. I mean, there's actually 17 FCs. Just like Pew and Satomi fucking missed the last slider.
I know.
That's,
I have a 12 miss on it,
that's
and
really
mine was
sad.
my run has 12 misses on it, and it's still worth 300 PP.
That's
It is
pretty good.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's
But,
pretty good. That's some good PP system right there.
Oh yeah, solid PP.
Gotta love it.
Share with people. I think I need to close it on this end. Save. Share with people. OneDrive. Fucking OneDrive. This is why Google Docs simply just is better. But anyways, let's start with the actual discussion now that we're here. We're gonna do the super stupid entrance that everyone wants me doing in my videos because that's what they want. I mean, so from this point on, I'm gonna have to be talking in my really deep voice for the sake of drama. So
Yeah,
Steve here
but...
with another discussion video. This time on Catch the Beat. Joining us today will be Vinx, a high-ranking French player.
High ranking?
I mean, you're
Well,
like
yeah,
150, aren't you?
I think I am close to that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's high-ranking enough. I mean, in terms of Catch the Beat, it's not much, but
Yeah.
it's enough.
Okay, let's say so.
Yeah. Okay, so among the many things we have to talk about today is Notepad-Gate. So, for anyone in the audience that doesn't understand what went on during like the past couple of days, we'll make a short story of it. But basically, Amlink, this again high-ranking American player, decided to post a video online exposing a exploit inside the game that allowed you to change a map's approach rate, circle size, any settings you wanted, play the map, and then submit the score, making the computer believe that you actually played the ranked version of the map. This obviously creates issues because you can play high AR maps with DT and nobody would notice that you're actually reading them at a slower speed. Among the things that Amlink mentioned in his video was actually that certain players like Fantasy had been using this for a while. So, Vinx, what is your take on the whole Notepad-Gate?
So the whole thing, in my opinion, is really fucking dumb. Sorry, like, excuse my French. That's really funny to say that, but like it's really dumb, and we'll probably never know who really used it a lot or not, unless action is taken by the by people of higher that have higher power in us, like admins and people like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, accusing everyone is really dumb. Like, no one trusts each other right now. It's pretty fun. It's like the chaos.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just being like, "Oh, you play IAR? You're a cheater. You
You're a
used
cheater."
that. You
Yeah.
used that glitch or that notepad thing." And that's really dumb because some people can actually play it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that play really high AR really well. I mean, like Hoodie, for example. I mean, he got banned for hacking as well, but I can tell you, like, I saw him play on my computer, and he's a legit player. He could play high AR pretty well. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a shame that, as you said, like, you can't really trust a lot of people now because of that issue with the whole Notepad-Gate. Why it's called Notepad-Gate, or why we're calling it that, is because Amlink used in his video the example of Notepad as his text file editor. Notepad kind of became a meme after that. There's actually a couple tweets here and there with a Notepad saying I can edit files and stuff like that. I'll bring one up for a demo. But adding to that is the fact that, for example, Razor Sharp. So a lot of people reported Razor Sharp like immediately after the video got uploaded. A lot of people saw him submit this really weird score. I think it was with Flashlight, wasn't it?
Hard Rock, actually.
Hard Rock? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a ridiculous score with Hard Rock. Do you remember what map it was?
It's on Vicinity. It's like an Hard Rock score that's like pretty much impossible to double. This map is probably impossible to double S with the Hard Rock, and that's why Xgun did it with Flashlight. But like you can even see like his score is lower than the no mod full combos, and like it's I don't even know, this guy is still there.
They actually got taken down now that I look at it. So he was claiming that the score was gonna be taken down, that he asked for a rollback. He did have a rollback. I'm looking at it now. Let me put it on screen just to get people on it. So the score would have been here. This is System of a Down, Vicinity of Vicinity.
No, it's actually there. Just look like number 23.
23.
And the map. That's what I mean. Like his score is lower than any no mod full combos, and you can see his score is like.
Oh, it's because I'm looking at the OSU standard leaderboard. Whoa, whoa, what a mess up. So we go look at it. Yeah, number 23, Razor Sharp, Hard Rock. So
And this is worth 450 PP almost. It's
Yeah.
like 447. So yeah.
So, according to a Reddit post in which he commented, he asked for a rollback and he was just testing out if the hack worked. Now, I don't know about you, but the moment I saw Amlink's video, I said, I am not going to submit a single score until this gets fixed. Because let's be honest, anything that has double time or HR in it looks pretty false at this point, right? So
Yeah, especially on this map.
especially when the video showed the entire process of how the exploit worked and demoed a score submission for you. So I think, at least in my opinion, there was no reason for Razor Sharp to actually try and submit a score with the exploit. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, because you already have the you already know it's gonna work since you just saw it, so why
Yeah.
just try it?
Like Amlink's video was done in real time. That's what's so special about it. He demoed in real time with obviously not a high score to not get himself in trouble, but he demoed it in real time that the score would submit and would go through. So here we are, and the freaking it's still there. It's been like what, 5 days, 4 days, something like that.
Yeah, I think 4 days.
So what are the mods doing? Like what is going on that score isn't getting adjusted?
And like funny thing is that the day that he submitted that score, Rampage also submitted 2 scores, I think, that were using this, and he got like 1 week of scores deleted. Like the week of right before he did that was deleted entirely, and he did some pretty insane double time scores before even using that thing. But like that was really dumb of Rampage, and he said it. But like that guy got a rollback on his account, but Razor Sharp is still there. No rollback, no ban, no restrict, nothing. And that's well, I think the guy who's the most upset about this is probably Rampage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't. I don't know why it's taking so long.
Now coming back to Amlink's video, at least I don't know for a high ranking player, I really don't know the high ranking player base. So I kind of went like, oh, who's Fantasy? When I saw the video, and then like quick search landed me on the #1 US spot, and it's pretty obvious who he's referring to. I'm bringing it up right here on screen, but I kind of doubted the video for a second because I just didn't see a lot of plays that don't seem legit. Like all of these scores have been done before. I think I might have been looking at the wrong account before actually, because this one actually does have more HR scores. But do you think Fantasy is a hacker? That is the question I'm giving to you. Thanks.
I can't really say, like...
not a hacker, but an exploiter, somebody who used the aforementioned exploit in his best performances.
I wouldn't say he is, but I can't say for sure he isn't. Like that's the point of like this exploit right now. Like of course it's gonna be doubted a lot because he plays high AR a lot, so that's why a lot of people doubt him. And yeah, I don't know. Like I can't really call him a hacker. Like
exploiter. For this specific instance, it has to be an exploit because it's not technically a hack.
Yeah. But I can't say for sure he used it, but I can't say for sure he didn't too. So yeah, I don't really have any opinion on this. I think it's just like if you say he hacks or not, it's just like making more drama for him. So I don't know.
Correct.
It's like there's just no point in saying he's a hacker.
At this point, saying he is or he isn't, at least him defending himself could create more issues for him, wouldn't it? Because it's the same as Razor Sharp when he tried to defend himself on Reddit. We're talking about it right now, right? Like, can we really trust that he just submitted it because he wanted to test it out? Because, I mean, from our perspective, it doesn't make sense to submit a score with it, right? So it's like...
But, like, it didn't... I don't think he did submit any scores with it, because, like... He did some crazy DT plays, but that was, like, before it was said to everyone. Now, he said on stream that he doesn't know about... Like, he didn't know about it, but... I don't know who to trust in the American community, so because a lot of people knew about it. I mean, a lot. Some people knew about it in the American community, high-ranked players. And I just don't know if he's like if he really didn't know, or if he just says that to like stay like look more legit, which I think is
Hmm.
kind of legit, but it didn't do any super crazy plays, like impossible plays. Like everything
Yeah,
it did,
yeah.
okay,
It,
it did some rain in double time, but
yeah,
other
exactly.
people
Like it's the same
did
thing
it.
that I'm looking at right here in his profile, and I see like standard plays from a veteran player. He's been playing for 3 years. Like I could see this in like several of the top 50 players' profiles. Like nothing
Yeah,
seems to be out of place. There's no Owen Owen 1,000 PP scores here, right? Like if he did it subtly, which I mean, I guess for himself, good for him.
but
But
like we
but
could
like
we could say the same. We could say the same like for Motion or for Shamin or for anyone like
exactly,
in the top 10 that isn't Hexagon, because I think like this guy proved that enough that he's legit.
yeah,
But but like yeah, you can have doubts on everyone like playing IAR on in the top 20 even.
correct.
Like that won't do anything. It's like if action is taken, we'll see. But for now, we can't do anything about it.
Hmm. Um, the chat is claiming some hackings and cheats, but I'd rather not discuss those people. Now, here's an interesting topic on that same Notepad-Gate. Because I was, for example, in a multiplayer lobby yesterday with some low-ranking players and a Japanese player, Amei, and Paka-chan. Actually, Paka-chan was the highlight of the multiplayer lobby. And as soon as somebody said, "Oh, we should invite fantasy," and I'm like, "Oh, I would abstain from that due to the drama going on right now, right?" And they're like, "Oh, why?" And I'm like, "Well, he's there's some claims that he might be exploiting, right?" And Amay stepped in and was like, "Oh, we should probably keep the drama out of this lobby." And I did at the time, but thinking about it, I kept thinking about it, and the reality is that why should we not talk about it? I think that it's pretty important for the low ranked players to kind of know that there are flaws in the system and that there are people who will be exploiting those flaws, right? What do you
Yeah,
think
but
about this? Should the
uh,
drama be swept under the rug, or should players be aware that this exploit happened? Because let's be honest, it happened in less than 24 hours. It was patched through, so it wasn't available anymore. But
it is still available.
it is still available.
Yeah, it is. It's like
I was under the impression that it was patched, but
uh,
this is even worse than I
it.
thought.
A lot of people say it was patched, but some standard players in France like actually confirmed it wasn't patched. Like you probably know the name Fils de Lama. I mean,
I do not,
maybe you know
but
him. Is like number one France in standard, and he confirmed to us like yesterday that it's actually still working and that he won't submit anything since he's a AR 11 player. He won't submit anything until it's 100% patched. So it is not yet fully patched.
fully
Apparently,
patched.
some people can't do it anymore because like I, I'm not sure, but I think Rampage said that you can't use it anymore. So it's still, I don't know, it's not really clear if it's patched or not yet. But like
So
one thing is
okay,
for sure though, one thing for sure is that if you use it right now, you're gonna get like detected 100%. Like everybody using it right now is getting restricted or like getting a rollback.
I see. So they've made it at least easier to track who's using it,
Yeah,
but the exploit is still available.
it is.
Okay. So that's slightly worse than I expected. Actually, I thought it was patched. Um, so that's why I went up some ranks today, Kappa. Yes, the leaderboards are changing, but not because of exploits, but because of AugOEidEs, which we'll touch about later. Um, so one special thing about these exploits and stuff like that, as they get discovered, is that uh, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm a programmer, but I did my share of coding in high school, both in games and just general basic programs. But it's fairly obvious that when you get stuff like these exploits, you actually learn quite a bit about how the game works and about the safeguards that the programmers put into place for hackers to not hack, right? And so discovering an exploit like this means, I think, from like a programmer's perspective, it's gonna tell you a lot about how to manipulate OSU. So I think there could be potentially an increase in hackers just due to people finding ways around the tracking methods, for example, and still be able to use the exploit in some way or another. What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, this thing was probably around since the creation of the game, because Daki-chan used it a long time ago.
Correct. That is another thing that we're going to talk about.
And Crystal CLSW confirmed to Titobas that he knew about it a long time ago, like since it was like just since he maps a lot.
Yep.
He actually had like the two things open and saw that it worked, like on even on a unranked map. Like you could change it and play it, and it will show like in your scores after it, even if you update it, just like in the Amling video. So he knew that it was around, and probably so if he knew, there's probably other people who knew that it was around. So I don't think that it will increase hackers now, because first of all, it's like it's not really a hack. It doesn't like inject anything into the game.
Well,
it's just
but
it's just changing the it's just changing a map from basically what you do in the editor. When you like when you try to put CS0, for example, when I try to put CS0, I just do that.
Exactly, but for example, here's the thing though, like what I'm saying is that not that it's a hack, but just as you mentioned, like it's not injecting in anything into the game right now. But let's say somebody does develop a hack that does inject something into the game that removes that safeguard that just got put in. Now, right now the hacks are actually fairly complex in the sense of like, for example, time warp and shit like that is like really difficult to actually code for. But now you have an easy backdoor via this exploit. Just undo what Peppy did, and you got yourself the easiest like AR hack made in history.
I don't think you can though go through that, what it did, because right now it didn't put anything to protect it. It just put like you could always get detected by this. It just didn't look at it. I think every time you submit a score, there's like with the score submission, there's like a like your processes on your computer. Like there's a screenshot of that going with the submission to spot if there's any hack running in the background. So like if he sees two Notepad opened, then he's like, oh, this guy is using the exploit, and that's just what happened now. It just didn't know it before. Right now,
that's actually a pretty interesting thing. Yeah.
Right now, the only reason people are getting restricted for using the exploit is because they actually paid attention to people having two notepads opened in their process list. And that's the only way they can find them right now. But yeah, if there's another way to do it without a notepad and stuff like that, if someone finds a way, then yeah, they'll get through. But
like,
right now,
right now, for example, I can think like, as a basic coder myself, I could go into my Visual Studio, write a program that instead of opening two notepads has two instances of the same string or of the same series of strings open, and then writes the one that would write the original notepad, and then as soon as I exit the song, write the other one that wrote the second notepad. And it would be a single program that's named I love gay hentai.exe instead of two notepads open, and there's no way of tracking it. Like, there you go, the simplest workaround over that specific method, right?
Yeah, that would probably work actually.
So like what like as we're talking about it right now, like it's pretty obvious that if those are the safeguards put in place, then they're not safe enough. So
well, there might be other thing behind it.
Of
but
course,
that's like
there might be other things, but
and
that's
probably
one
what
of the easiest ways.
Yeah.
And Pepe made a post actually a couple days ago, and he was talking about the code blocks. Yes, I've used code blocks before. I use Visual C# right now though. That's the language I code in right now. But going back to it, like Pepe made a post a couple days ago, and he was talking about hackers versus programmers, basically. Like, it doesn't matter how much time you spend coding against hacks, because in the end, they will just keep finding new ways to keep hacking, right?
Yeah, but
So
like that's the
so
same in
he
every game.
exactly. So he's like, it's getting to a point where, like, before there used to be simple hacks, and I'm guessing they were things exactly like this one, like the Notepad exploit, where like you could detect it really easily, but as you start coding against those specific exploits or hacks, they start getting more complex and more intricate, and you start getting to a point where you can no longer code against them. And I think the fact that he's making a post about it is kind of giving us an idea of how tiring it's getting coding against hacking, to the point where, like, for example, things like Nosu are starting to emerge, and he's just letting them go, right? Like, oh, it's totally okay if these hackers get together over there, as long as they don't stay over here, right? Just fuck off.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying. So do you think it's getting to the point where, like, there's actually a pretty invested hacking community lurking in Osu, and we just haven't noticed it?
Well, there've always been hackers in that game, and like in France, there's even people known as hackers, and they come back like a lot. But they're known as hackers. They like some of them even streamed with AR hack as their like stream title. So like there is a community of hackers, but like that's the same in every game. Like what can you do about it? Yeah, sure, is gonna code something. Like Pepe can code something and to like slow them a bit. But then like in 2 months is back. So why would you put like the effort doing this where you could put just like just put effort into making, for example, Osu next. Like that's just probably his main like that's his main focus right now, just doing the Osu next. And if there's cheaters, well, then there is cheaters, and that's the same as every game. Like I don't know, there's no need really to try to track them down or like doing a witch hunt, because it's sure there will always be more and more, like, well, maybe not more and more, but there'll always be hackers, like, just in the games.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, basically we're getting to the point where coding to better the game is more efficient than coding against the hackers. But then what stops the hacker community from increasing, right? Like, for example, CS:GO as a prime example of like a bunch of hackers getting together and fucking up the ranking system. Like it doesn't go like in less than 5 games. I've already detected at least 2 hackers. Like it's sometimes so blatant that they're walling and stuff like that it makes no sense, right? So
Yeah.
and you think about, well, what's CS:GO doing against the hackers? Okay, they got Overwatch. They got the VAC system, although the VAC system isn't exactly perfect.
It's really old.
It's really old, and it doesn't get updated very often.
Yeah.
And it's based on program list detection of known hacks versus actually detecting stuff getting into
It's
the
the
code and
same
stuff
as
like that, right?
it's pretty much the same as us right now.
Exactly. But for example, Overwatch has proven to be very, very efficient to some degree. I mean, it doesn't get rid of everyone, but at some point or another, most people end up going to Overwatch because they're too obvious. So what, like, on that topic of we cannot witch hunt people, there's an entire subreddit dedicated to witch hunting Osu hackers. But
Yeah, but that's kind of the Overwatch for us, in my opinion. It's
yeah,
like this is where people can actually, like, one guy is gonna say, okay, this guy cheats, so in CS:GO it would be the guy reporting, and then there's a lot of people watching it, and voting if they think it's true. So that's like basically what they do in Overwatch, like watching and then saying if it's true or not at the end. And I think that this subreddit is actually pretty like really nice to filter the community. It's like it's really an Overwatch but text-based, and I think that's really good. Like there was a lot of multi-accounts and cheaters banned with this that were like people that were going like that were pretty much undetected, and thanks to that subreddit, they're getting like reported a lot, and they're actually getting attention, so they get banned in the end, and that's a really good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, but look at the effort that they're putting in. The majority of these things, unless their scores are blatant, you have to stand by the score and look at it over and over, sometimes analyze it on a frame by frame or like half speed, stuff like that, to really notice people that are hacking, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, in Overwatch, you watch 15 minutes of somebody like aiming through the walls or pre-firing or whatever they are doing, but if you compare that to Osu, you have to put a lot of effort just to analyze if somebody's hacking or not. So, I mean, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better
yeah.
implementation of finding hackers.
But like no, it's actually hard too on CS:GO when you like if you overwatching a global or high level supreme, this guy prefires everything and has like really good aim. So what's the difference from a hacker, right? That's kind of the same in us. That's why you can't just ban on just suspicions, because Overwatch does that. Overwatch bans after the like a lot of people said yes, this guy is hacking, and when there's actually really good players, they get banned for nothing. Like
Ah,
they like on us.
yeah,
That's a good thing too, that they don't just ban from suspicions.
exactly.
It caused like a really lot of drama on Counter-Strike when a guy playing Scout really at really high level
Hmm.
got banned. He got like 5 accounts banned by Overwatch pretty much because he just does insane shots. This guy has live plays. This guy is streaming and everything like this. So it is legit, but the Overwatch thing that just accept the suspicion from people, it like and that doesn't like go further than this.
Yep.
It's dumb, and that's why the subreddit is actually better than the Overwatch in my opinion, because they don't just get banned in like from suspicion.
I see. Yeah, I think that makes sense actually. Like, and just to take a quick bit to answer the chat's question, yes, there is a report button. You can report anyone for any reason, or you can use the in-game chat and type /report the reason for the report and the player, or /report name of the player and then reason for the report, and that gets sent to the mod/admins, whatever you want to call them. So there is a system for reporting people, but a lot of the times you won't actually see it working. Let's be honest here. I think I've reported a couple scores that haven't actually been touched ever. But
Yeah.
that's not to say the system is completely inefficient. But again, going back to the example of Racer Sharp, everyone has been reporting that specific score that he submitted, and it hasn't been rolled
A-
back.
And
It's still
it's
there.
a really obvious one. Because the
Exactly.
score isn't even the same as it should be.
Exactly. So I mean, let's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
is the system really working? Are the mods really working to
Well,
their job?
let's not lie about this. It's Catch the Beat, first of all. So we all know that since 2 years, well, since the fucking creation of Catch the Beat,
In 2012,
the
mind you.
moderation on it has been really like not paying attention.
Yeah,
It's been like that since a long time, and that's expected to be like this. It's not the main mode, that's why it doesn't get as much it doesn't get as much player base and as much like attention as
correct.
the standard mode, and that's why moderation is a bit easier on it.
Yeah. Well, Notepad-Gate will be an ongoing problem until it's like solved completely, and like I mean there will still be people witch hunting for the time being. I'm guessing, but at least something has been done for the immediate double Notepad issue, anyways. Uh, hashtag catch the beat is moderated very well. Um, yeah, I can totally
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fairly
We
fairly
can
well
see.
moderated.
Yeah, we can see that like it's really well moderated since we like took a bunch of people like 2 days ago and raided hashtag Tycho, uh, and like no one did anything. It was pretty fun, and we rated it with like the #1 US from Tycho. So yeah, the moderation is really nice.
Let's touch for a second on the moderation team, and for example, like a topic that I didn't get to talk about before or discuss with anyone, anyways, at least in a serious way, which was Lockdov versus CLSW.
Oh God, this.
Well,
Okay.
What did you think of the whole Lockdov versus CLSW thing? Or let's explain it
It's
first a little bit. So basically, Lockdov doesn't like CLSW's maps and called him a bad mapper, and then CLSW got slightly salty and basically quit online gameplay for a couple months. That's the short story. So what do you think of it, Vinks?
uh, to be honest, I think it's the most childish drama I've ever seen on that game. Because like it's basically each other trying to trigger like the other guy. Like the waifu trigger was really funny. It was like the funniest thing I've seen from Lockdev, to be honest. Like trying to trigger CLSW on his waifu was pretty fun.
Yep.
And it's like really dumb because the answer from CLSW could have been like really nice. He could have roasted a bit Lockdev and like and getting away with it, which is pretty nice to do. And
Correct.
he just answered like really like with a really dumb and childish answer. He was like just angry at him and insulting him publicly. That's like if he just like roasted him a bit without being 100% explicit, it would have been like perfect for him. Like some people would have left because we all know that Locktav doesn't have a lot of fans, I'd say. And like I don't know, it just messed up his opportunity to actually be seen as a good guy, and now he's just seen as a child. But yeah, the start of this drama was really dumb. And it's just Locktav telling his like to CLSW that his bitmaps are shit when he can't even play catch the beat. But that's I don't know. It's like it's like if a catch the beat player went and insulted like I don't know, Shern or someone like a good standard mapper and told him, yeah, your bitmaps are shit. I can play them, but I'll tell you that. Like it's just dumb.
So I actually had the chance to ask ephemeral blah blah his name.
Yeah,
What was his stance on the whole Lockdown versus CSW debacle? And here's his response. I honestly have no opinion. The two of them have beef, and sometimes beef gets grilled. Sometimes it gets served raw. Not really my business to care, so I don't. So,
okay.
um, basically he's like, it's not my business, so fuck it. And his is a stance that many people like to take, and that I take myself sometimes. So no judging there. But I think, I mean, on one hand you have, yeah, sure, it's not my stance, or not my it's not my job to care for it, right? But if you put it into perspective, and we will in a second once we talk about the ranking system, CLSW leaving catch the beat online for a couple months was actually one of the worst things that could have happened in my opinion. It was like chaos, probably.
Well, we saw like the direct impact of him not like modding stuff,
Exactly.
etc. Hello Magic Bomb maps, but
Oh
no hate
yeah.
on Magic Bomb though. He can map for like I don't know, rank 3K players, but that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You know what? Yesterday I was modding a map, and it was the rain that I specifically the only map that was completed in that set was Magic Bombs, and I was like, this is probably gonna be like one of the most garbage maps I've played. Let's be honest here, and I started playing it, and I finished it from start to finish, and I was like, that map actually wasn't bad. It was a good rain, and my only comment on the mod was like, Magic Bomb, this isn't the Dark Ages anymore. It's okay if you have like a slightly higher AR. Your map feels like you're skiing on ice, so a higher AR might fix it a little bit. Like I tried it with AR 9.2 instead of 9. It worked perfectly fine. The map was glorious. It was like, oh damn, this is actually a really nice rain. And I was like, I actually like got a little bit of respect for you now. Like you don't make crap maps, but you keep mapping for a crap audience. Let's put it that way.
yeah, like it could map like anyone could map really great if they really put the thoughts into it. Like you can learn from just watching another map that you like, and you can learn from it. Like that's as simple as that. But he's just trying to be like, hey, I'm a meme mapper, community love me. It's just
Exactly.
trying to get attention. It's like being an attention whore for mapping. And that's I don't know why he's doing that. He could do really great maps. Well, not overdose type because all the overdoses he did, no offense, but I mean I can't probably map like he does, and that's a good thing I think.
I don't.
But like he could just keep it with the rain. Like he has some good rain difficulties, but other than that, I don't know. But he
Uh,
just should stop with all the platter meme songs like the seal and everything like this.
CLM
It just
before is one of the biggest memes I've ever. Oh my god!
it's just dumb. It has no place in this
What
game.
is this doing here?
Yeah, it shouldn't be in this game. It's like, hey, I'm funny, love with me, hey.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay. So I sent you a link on Skype. You're a student, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have it open?
I'm opening it right now.
Okay. I'm gonna put it on screen now, and it's something I've been working on. It's something that I keep updating day to day, basically as maps go out.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Good.
tracking all of the Catch the Beat maps that were ranked, with the exception of a single one that I'm still tracking down. I don't know where I missed it, but I missed one specific map, only one, so it shouldn't really affect statistics. But I missed one. But one of the like as I was making this, I was like, okay, it's going up. The skill curve is obviously going up, and I finished up to like 2015, and that was like my statement up to then. And then I said like, okay, well I'm gonna do 2016 tomorrow, and the next day I did all of 2016, and the first thing I realized is, oh my god, the condition of catch the beat mapping is at its worst it's ever been. Like
Yeah, it's
I
like
was so baffled by everything. Like if you really pay close attention, oh, it doesn't let me do it on this copy. Let me bring up the other copy. The other copy is nicer for me. This copy is much nicer. It lets me do magical things. So you can see that starting on February 24th of 2015, when Genryu Kaiko gets released, the overall skill curve of the game has been decreasing drastically.
yeah.
So this curve down here, like avoiding the random 5.98 star, the JB Hyperion map, I think it is. Yeah, it's JB
The
Hyperion's
new
map.
one?
Yeah, the new one. And then
Yeah.
avoiding AugOEidEs, which we will talk about in a second. Like avoiding those two maps that are just randomly placed in the middle of the chart, you can see this really steep curve heading down the ranking path. And once you actually start looking, for example, slightly more down, you can see the catch the beat difficulty spread. Do you see that chart specifically?
Yeah. Yeah. and it's like there's way too much
There,
into
like,
like the 1 to 4 stars.
exactly.
I think there's way too much.
And no, like on the percentage holds per year, which is something that I worked on yesterday, I think.
Yeah,
Um, I put in red numbers that were decreasing and green numbers that increased during their respective years, and you start seeing that basically 4-star maps, which is where most ranks should be located, in my opinion, anyways, are going down, and they're going down at a very drastic rate, from 28% from 26% in 2012 and 28% in 2013, which you would call a small increase. They then basically halved in size during 2014 and 2015, and then halved in size again to 2016. The current hold of 4-star maps is pretty much nil compared to when the game started, and
yeah.
the hold for 1 to 2-star maps has increased
It's just
so
going
much.
up.
It's going
Yeah.
up. You can see it right here in this chart. It's the blue line. 2016 is already headed. We're a quarter of the way through the year. That map is gonna be at least twice as high as last year's. And like, look at the other holds. With like 5 stars, 6 stars, they're going down. No 6 stars have been ranked in 2016. And to say that the last 7-star song that did get ranked counts as one is just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. It probably counts as a 5 stars,
Like,
not as 6, and like not even 7, not even close
Exactly.
to 7.
like the condition of mapping in general is getting really, 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 really bad. And
But
it's fairly obvious looking at this charting curve where basically nothing in 4 and 5 stars is getting mapped in this year. And if the trend continues, then what's gonna get ranked? 4 stars for, I mean, 3 to 4 stars for the rest of the year? Like,
it's
what
gonna
what
be it's gonna be double time Fiesta on Reigns pretty much.
Exactly, but it's like there's only so much that the top 1,000 players of Catch the Beat can farm before everyone has the same freaking scores in their profile, and we're already seeing this in the top 50, and that number is only going to continue to grow until the entire game leaderboard becomes stale. Like,
Yeah, but there's one thing that's funny though with this map is like a lot of people are gonna try hard it, and when like rank 500 are gonna full combo it, then they're gonna be stuck at one point after full comboing this, like they're with the way the PP weighting works, like they're gonna be stuck at one rank and they're just gonna decrease because they can't actually play 7-star maps. So
exactly.
like if actually worth 7-star maps get ranked, then these guys are gonna be like high in ranking, but they won't do anything. They'll just decay in ranking for like 1 year or more because they just got like
Well,
I
yeah,
think it's like 770 PP for full combo. That's
exactly.
really fucking dumb.
It's 783 or 85, something like that. And it like, as you said, because of the way PP works, where every continuous score is less weighs less overall. If their first PP score weighs 700 and their second score weighs 90% of, let's say, 300 PP, then after that, all of their scores are going to be worth less and less and less and less and less.
Yeah,
And
like
exactly, like
and
the
like
way you
all
told
the
me
scores.
earlier, right? Like now that they see their PP isn't going to increase, they're going to be less inclined to keep playing, and then they're going to quit.
Yeah,
You made that point to me a couple days ago, and I thought that was really interesting, and it is something that I would say is pretty true. When I take a look at it, when I was playing, one of the reasons why I kept playing was because back in the day when people had Go Berserk as their top score, there was a lot of stuff at the time to play. There was a lot of PP to get from regular OSU standard converts, and there was
yeah.
a lot of people still ranking up and still playing Genryu Kaiko. Genryu Kaiko at this point has, like, I think 30 FCs, something like that. a couple months ago, it was only like 10 FCs. It's like people are getting better. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. And there's not enough maps to accommodate people actually getting better.
And
So,
and this is where the Magic Bomb and JB Hyperion, like all the platter mappers are getting like start being a problem.
exactly.
If they continue mapping only only platters, and they're not like the only ones in the problem. The bitmap nominators for Catch the Beat,
Oh, yeah.
it's really dumb because
The,
like they allow that. They're the one allowing
yeah,
what's happening right now.
the problem goes further beyond just the mappers and goes it like both into the whole ranking system of how beat maps get ranked and on the community itself. And this is something that I realized today when I was talking to a friend of mine just before like doing this whole Twitch stream. I talked to somebody about like kind of how the OSUS ranking system worked, and they immediately told me, well, like it's pretty obvious that it's open to corruption, and let's talk about it a little bit for in that way for a second. Uh, for a beat map to get ranked, you submit it online. Modders mod it, and if you consider their mod valid, you give them a kudosu star, right? If
Yeah.
they think your map is good enough, they'll give you they'll return that kudosu star to you in the form of a point towards submission or something like that.
Yeah.
After you get enough stars and your map is well known enough, a beat map nominator comes in and goes like, yeah, okay, it's chill, right? So
Yeah, and then he bubbles.
and
He
then
bubbles them.
he bubbles the map, right? So at that point, the map gets qualified. Am I correct?
It gets well, not really. It's like it has to get bubbled and then it has to get qualified. It's like two steps. It's
Okay,
not
so it basically
when you
goes.
get bubble you
Yeah,
qualify.
it goes through two steps right there, which is even worse than
Yeah.
what I had originally thought. This is only getting worse as we speak, basically. But once it gets bubbled and then once it gets qualified, you have a 1 week period where if anybody finds anything wrong with your map, it goes back to back to the modding queue. You're fucked, son. And if nothing is found wrong with the map, your map gets ranked after a week. Now, going back to the initial processes of both modding and bubbling the map, if you take a really careful look at it, those are both entirely social processes. You get friends to mod you, or people you don't know from the internet to mod you, and you are trusting them with the ability to judge your map, and they trust you back by giving you the kudosu star. So it's a two-step process where you go like, you're my friend, you help me with the map, I'll help you back. And then once you take a look at it, what are the public's interests? Who are the people modding, and what do they want?
Okay.
And you start realizing they want PP. The reason why maps like AugOEidEs are getting ranked is because the general consensus is the least effort that I need and the more PP that it gives me, it's worth more for me to give it a kudosu star.
Well, that's the point, but that's not the biggest point. Okay, so now the biggest point is actually if you want to rank a map, you have to be friend with the right people in
Exactly.
Catch the Beat at least.
Exactly.
So right now everyone ranking maps in Catch the Beat except Caitlin. I think she's the only one that's not in that shitty modder community.
Oh yeah,
And
the modding community.
like everyone, if they're all friends like Sei, Kurokami, Magic Bomb, JB Hyperion, Dave, and Coliron. Okay, these are like the 5 people that are fucking up everything right now. Now, Dave is not as much as the other ones, but is really a big part of it since he has a lot of influence. And so right now, if you want to rank something and you're not friend with them, it's hell. You basically can't. Like you can see QR as like just CQR as pointer like right now. He's been trying to rank maps that have everything to get ranked. They're like playable, accessible. There's like even storyboards on some. They're well done. The timing is all good. All the patterns are nice. The spread is good on every map set. So it's 100% okay to be qualified.
Correct.
But it will never get bubbled. Why? Because he isn't friend with say Kurokami and everyone like that. So what he did recently was ask Kurokami and every of these guys for guest diffs, and he said that's the like he doesn't like doing this, but that's the only way he's probably gonna ever rank a map, because if you're not friend with these guys, you're never gonna get anything ranked right now. That's why we need more people in the bitmap nominators. Now I say this, but I won't even bother going into that bitmap nominator stuff because like it's just too much shit to take every time. Because like of course there's good maps and like good mappers, but there's also all the trash meme mappers that are around it and are trying to rank some shitty maps like that are like maps that aren't even needed in that game. And like right now it's really messed up like the way you rank stuff. Like if it wasn't Coliron doing that AugOEidEs map, it wouldn't be ranked. If it was someone unknown to the little the like the modding circle thing,
Correct. The catch the beat modding.
it wouldn't be, yeah, it wouldn't be ranked. Like 100% sure it wouldn't be ranked. Why? Because first of all, Coliron is a good friend of Dave, and Dave ranked that map pretty much. That's how it happened. Like Coliron submitted it, and Dave was like, "Okay, this needs attention." Boom, ranked. Like it's just really dumb how it actually works like this.
One of the things that I took a look at the other day that I was starting to get into mapping or the ranking process and trying to understand it was actually the ranking criteria for Catch the Beat. And the first thing that I noticed when visiting the forum page was how bullshit it was. There's 2 rules and 3 guidelines on the Catch the Beat ranking criteria. The
Yeah.
2 rules are your map must be accessible, which basically says nothing because most maps in the game are accessible unless they're built specifically to not be accessible. And do not place a note closer than half after a spinner.
Yeah. So basically,
Those are the 2 rules. Oh boy, let's think of all the maps
basically,
that fit that description. Just about every map in existence,
basically,
right?
I can ring brain power, right?
Exactly.
I mean, X gone double lest it, so it's double like you
It's
can double lest it.
accessible, and you don't have a
Yeah.
note closer than a half after a spinner.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Then stars ranked.
Boom. Oh, but let's look at the OSU standard and look at the guidelines are comprehensive and extensive, and the rules, there's several of them.
Yeah, and
Uh,
because of that, when you try to model rank something, they just like add bullshit to it. Like, oh, you know what? That pattern it isn't rankable. But why? Oh, because I say it.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty much how it works.
because the pattern isn't rankable, right? And
Oh, I can't play it, so it's not rankable. Sorry.
exactly, and that's one of the things that I was thinking of as well when I was thinking of how the community affects the ranking itself. Aside from wanting PP, which not all people want PP, but I do think that it's a great factor in how the community thinks about a
Yeah.
map, because it probably is. Let's be honest. Another thing is what they think is the ideal Catch the Beat map, because when you take a look at it, and even I'm guilty of this, and it's something that I'm trying to go against now that I'm consciously thinking about it. But it's like when you play Catch the Beat map that's not ranked, and you start thinking, is this rankable or is this not? Because let's like at first sight, let's play Brain Power by you, for example, and I would tell you this shit isn't getting ranked anytime soon, anyways. But
Yeah,
like,
of course it's
but
not.
like, you put some thought into it, and is it overweighted? I wouldn't say so. Is it hard? Yes. Is it accessible? It is. I mean, technically, the only argument that I have against it is the fact that I, in a mysterious form, don't think that it's deserving of the ranked status. But there's no solid evidence to suggest that it shouldn't be ranked.
Yeah,
Just
and it
like
works the same the other way too.
exactly. Like a lot of people have this misconception that just because you don't think it's rankable shouldn't mean it's not. It shouldn't means it shouldn't be not overweighting number one Steve. Not over number one Steve. What? Anyways, like a lot of people lock themselves into the idea of how a catch the bean map should look like, right? And I think that's
Yeah.
hurting both the variety of maps that get ranked and the quantity of maps that get ranked, right?
Yeah.
So let's think for a second that a lot of people were more open to the idea of maps that get ranked, and suddenly you have more things on the higher end of thing, which on the higher difficulty spread, which is where these things become more obvious, that would get suddenly ranked. Like an easy fix to ranking more stuff is just taking away that idea that this isn't rankable just because I say so.
Yeah, and it's what's happening right now. It's like a lot of good maps aren't getting ranked because of one reason: the bitmap nominators can't play it.
Exactly.
You have Kurokami say JB. Like these three guys are not even top 1K, not even top 1000. How do you expect them to rank high quality maps?
Exactly.
Like you can't even play the game like at a good level. And if you think like if anyone thinks that 1000 is good in Catch the Beat, yeah, it's good when you play platters and that's it. Like nice, you can play platters, you can play some
Pretty
raids.
much.
Maybe one or two overdoses that are really free, to be honest. Maybe you can play Xeno and get like half the combo, good job. But that map is really free. But that like it's
yeah,
not they're not
true.
experienced enough to tell if a 6-star map is good for ranking or not. Because like if you can't play it, of course you're gonna say, oh, this pattern is too hard or this one is too hard, nerf it please. If it's not nerfed, it won't get ranked. That like that's as if 10k rank people in standard were modding Mazarin maps.
Exactly.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just watching something way too hard for them and way too hard for pretty much anyone.
Exactly.
And like they're watching it and they're like, oh, what is going on? I can't follow it. It's too hard. It shouldn't be ranked. And that's dumb.
Exactly. It's that same ideology of, oh, this looks unplayable, so it's not playable. When in fact a lot of players can do really, really intense stuff. I mean, let's just talk for a second, and let's remember that a couple weeks ago, CLSW released the 7 Deadly Sins. And the challenge was completed. Somebody did pass all of the maps. Like, the maps, all of them were accessible. They were quality. I mean, they were hard. And you might think of them, again, with that same ideology of, like, this is nowhere near getting ranked. But when you look at it, they meet all of the criteria.
Yeah.
We're only blocking ourselves by A, having unfit BNs, and B, having an ideology that doesn't let us rank those maps.
Now I know that it's not really fair to blame it all on the BNs, but like,
Correct.
I think they should let more people enter the BN. Like, there's a lot. I think there's more people than like what everyone thinks that actually wants to join the BN, but they say they are said as not like they don't really fit because they're like not familiar with mapping or stuff like this. And I think that's really dumb. We shouldn't like stop. Like a player can like a good player, even if he never mapped, can tell if a map is good or not. Like he plays them, even though he doesn't map them. He still plays them. He plays high level stuff.
Oh yeah.
So he can like he can like nominate thing. He can
oh
say
yeah,
if a map is
that's
good
one
or
of
not.
the things that, for example, the new contest that I'm running for mapping is trying to accomplish, right? Like, the judges aren't mappers; they're players, with the exception of Dill Bill, which is we'll just leave him out of the question for now. But like, when you really look at it, they're high-ranking players that can play a lot of really hard maps. Everyone has their own specialty. Despite the little variety that exists in Catch the Beat, they're like at the higher rank. You're not really playing online most of the time. Let's be honest here. Like I spent like 90%
you
of my
play
time
unranked
playing unranked maps that fit the way that I play. They fit my play style, right? But I still know how to play, and I know when something feels awkward and bad. Like I can tell you this map doesn't play well, and I'm not a mapper. Well, I mean, I'm trying to be now, but that's a different story. But back before that, like I can tell you this map doesn't play well because of the following reasons. I don't have to be a mapper to tell you that, right?
Yeah,
I
you don't
can't,
have to be a mapper
like,
to know if a jump is awkward or not.
exactly. And I mean, sure, I can't tell you how to fix it, but going back to that ideology, I shouldn't have to, because me telling you how to fix your map is me taking away from your creative or from your creativity, let's say. Like, it's taking away from your work of art, in quotes. It's your map, it's your decision what to do with it. I'm just here to tell you this doesn't play well for this specific reason. But it shouldn't be your job to tell you how to fix it. And it's something that, for example, I noticed with Amir. I don't remember his...
Saucy.
Saucy, yeah. Like, Saucy's maps are great, but like they've been modified several times just to get ranked because society's rules deem it unrankable in its current status.
Yeah, his mapping is like really great, but a lot of people can't really play it because it's really rhythmic slider jumps. It's kind of like a spectator, but with like a harder way to it.
Exactly.
Like
And
it does a lot of really great maps, but they're just too hard for I don't know 70% of the players right now because they're just used to play platters and rain all the time because that's what gets ranked.
Exactly. Well, now rains are not getting ranked recently, but
yeah, platters only.
But platters. And going back to that spectator thing, you reminded me of one of the things that I wanted to talk about in about AugOEidEs was like I talked to a decent source today, and he just basically just told me like off the bat, like I got really mad at Coliron because he mapped it for PP. He didn't map it to make a good map.
He even said it.
Exactly. Like
he
said
it.
He said it himself. He didn't map it to make a good map. He mapped it to make a PP map. And that's exactly one of the things that for example, I thought of Spectator before. But I realized that Spectator has a different reason for mapping easy maps that are more PP heavy, and it's like I remember reading his tweet, I think it was, and it was like, I love watching people miss my maps. It's implying people are terrible at the game basically because his maps are easy and he knows it. But going back to that, like people are exploiting the PP system. It's just true.
Yeah, and even I do it. Like even I sometimes create map to just like make fun of making the star rating fucking explode. Like the brain power map, it's 10 stars. It should be like 6, not even 7. Like it's just because the jumps are fast, it gets 10 stars, and that's really dumb. And
Correct.
Now going back on the on when you said that Coliran, yes, he said to map PP, and a bad thing is that this guy, I think he kind of deserves the hate he's getting right now. But what I never got was like, why did Spectator get all the hate of PP mapping when he never changed his mapping from like 2012 to now? Like he just kept improving it. And that's really dumb, in my opinion.
That's really important. And his mapping did improve, and his mapping, for example, in Xeno. I can argue as much as I want that Xeno is a farm PP map. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's... I mean,
it's really well done.
I don't like the map, personally. I think it's not fun. But mechanically, like, it is beautiful. Like, it is, without a doubt, the best spacing I've seen in a map. Period. Nobody has even CLSW has a very special kind of spacing that just flows, but Xeno was really interesting in the sense that like it didn't flow the same way, but it flowed just as well.
Like what's really good with Xeno, in my opinion, is that it kind of makes that snapping movement.
Exactly.
Like and that's really hard to get like the flow really right with that kind of patterns. But like this is why this is why I think Spectator is probably one of the best mapper, if not the best. Like maybe tied with Crystal, because like they're both well, Spectator maps really for the flow, and when you play his maps, it just feels smooth. It feels really smooth, and it's like always on point, in my opinion. And it maps really great, but like yes, it gives a lot of PP for almost nothing. But that's not to blame the mapper.
Yeah.
Like
And
it didn't map. It didn't map it. It didn't map it for that. Like
I
you can
think one
blame
of the things
Run.
to look at was that back when he was still trying to, or back when he was still perfecting his play, and we had the earlier, not perfect his play, perfect his mapping style. We had the old ranking system, and those maps were rewarded, and those maps were kind of hard. Let's be honest. It took me quite a few tries to get that meme map, not meme, but what's his face, Spectator. Ooh, it's not.
But yeah, his old maps were.
Like all of his
so
old
kinda
maps
hard.
were kind of harder because it was wobble
It
impact.
wasn't
Sorry, wobble,
perfected,
wobble
yeah.
impact is like
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
example of a map that is awkwardly rankable. I would say, like some parts just feel really weird, but it worked, and it was sort of hard
Yeah.
in its own way. And the back in the old ranking system, these things were worth a little bit more because
Yeah, but
because
not
of
that much actually. There weren't like
Exactly, it wasn't worth that much more, but
like the
there was
old
still a difference.
before Spectators maps weren't really weighted a lot because it was like the ranking was about long like the distance between jump, not the speed between
Exactly.
jump.
Things like Go
So
Berserk were the
yeah,
most people.
yeah, Go Berserk, Airman, and all that stuff. It was
Exactly.
really worth a lot because it had a lot of long jumps. But
Exactly.
Spectators maps are about slider jumps and like the flow, like some speed jumping, and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And that like when he made the Twilight map, I think when he released it, it wasn't the new PP system. It just got like to the new PP system 1 month or 2 months after, and it wasn't a lot of PP at all. It didn't give a lot at all. And then all of a sudden, new PP system, 460 PP out of it.
Exactly.
Like it didn't do anything to do like to make it worth that much. It didn't do anything to map it for PP.
Exactly.
And that's why
Actually,
in
now
my
that you
opinion,
pointed out, I didn't even know that. I always thought Yoyami was just made specifically for the PP farm. But now that you pointed out,
No.
it's true. It did get ranked before the PP change.
yeah.
Like, there's so many misconceptions about this thing. Like, for example, me just realizing this, and a lot of people don't realize it. I think
And
that's one of those things that's hurting the community in terms of mapping. Anyways, you can continue.
and the
now.
the map was made like not for PP, but because he really loves the LAN version, like the standard version,
Yeah.
the LAN difficulty, and it has kind of the same feel to it.
Exactly.
That
It's just like
it just made it more playable and more suitable for
it's
for Catch the
how
Beat.
it's kind of like how CLSW maps the HoloWings difficulty sometimes. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like he takes
Well,
he
he did that for a lot
you
of.
takes inspiration and you rework it into something that works more in Catch the Beat. Because let's be honest, standard maps don't always flow exactly perfectly in Catch the Beat.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the like that's why converts are like you either like it or either hate it. Like convert maps are really weird, but they're like
yeah.
a good part of the game too. But yeah, a lot of mappers are just gonna play a convert map. They're gonna be, oh, I love that song. Let's see the type of patterns and the flow that it gives in standard, and I'll try to do the same in Catch the Beat. Make my way of that map. And yeah, like you said, Crystal does it a lot with Hollow Wings. You can see you can look on his mapping. It resembles a lot.
The
even in the
Deconstruction
editor.
Star, for example.
Yeah, the construction star is
It's like you play
kinda
play the actual like version. Let's look it up on screen here. Deconstruction.
yeah.
I typed
This
it
map kind of made me. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is a really good map," and then I played the Hollow Wings one, and I was kind of like
Like you watch the HoloWings
mad
map, and you'll see like the same patterns that you will see
Yeah, the timing is all the same. The patterns are the same.
in
Like most of them.
the CLSW version of the map, but it's like if you
It's
play
just based.
if you
It's
play
based
Beat
a
Heaven
little
versus
more.
Twilight Poinsettia, which are the diff names,
Yeah.
it's not the same flow. It like the beat mapping is the same in terms like beat, like literally beat. The beat is the same, but if you put the movements, they don't flow the same way that they do. Like here you can see there are short steps with some small jumps here and there, right? Like you're seeing it on screen. And then we go to the actual CLSW diff, and you'll see how it turns more into a tap based jump where it's happening continuously. It's in your face about it. It's jump right now, jump right now, jump right now, repeatedly. It evolves that specific pattern from standard that didn't flow well, and makes it flow well in Catch the Beat, which is really important because maps that flow well are enjoyed more.
Yeah, of course. Because like now, even though I say I don't really like most of his maps inspired by Hollow Wings, I, I cannot say that it's bad quality. I do say I don't like it, but the technically it's probably like it's probably the best mapper out there.
Oh yeah.
In terms of
Without
technique and
without being
like
fanboys,
jump
there's like no
patterns.
way you
Yeah,
can like you can't say CLSW is not
yeah. I
one
cannot
of the
I
best,
can't
if
say
not
it's a
the
bad mapper.
best.
Yeah, yeah. I can't say he's a bad mapper because that would be wrong. He's not a bad mapper. I don't like his maps. I mean, I do like some of them, not, but most of them I don't really like them. And but I cannot say that he's a bad mapper. He's probably the most talented mapper that Catch the Beat will like have ever seen. There might
Exactly.
be better mappers in the future, but right now he's the best. And yeah,
It,
it
it
did like it's kind of thanks to him that the average level has increased that much
oh yeah,
because of
that
the maps he
yeah.
released, and he made evolve Catch the Beat so much that
If we go
this guy, I
back,
think, yeah, I
i
think
i
like this guy is one of the main creator of the new Catch the Beat kind of.
oh yeah, if we go back to the chart, the Excel spreadsheet, and you look at all of these points at the top here, and the majority of the ones that are increasing actually, this entire line up here was basically CLSW himself.
Yeah,
Like he was the only person mapping 6-star maps up to here, where like in late 2015 there was a sudden boom of people mapping 6 stars, and then it just went down, down and down and down. But like the entire progress made to make like with the ideology to make the average, or not the average, but to raise the higher skill level cap, it was done by CLSW. Nobody else was putting effort into it. If you look at it, it's
yeah,
still empty. Even though the skill level was going up, he was the only one pushing the boundary of how far can a person go and catch the beat. Like,
yeah,
like
and you can even see it with like the challenges he does. Like he's
exactly,
trying to see who can follow his level, and
exactly.
like a lot of people are gonna try to do it, and they're actually gonna increase the like they're gonna get better at it.
Oh yeah,
And like even though like some maps he released really aren't like meant for improving your skills, like the last challenge he did is 100% that.
well
It's like just it's just for improvement.
it's like okay, and I confronted this problem like a couple months ago. But basically, like you get to the point where like okay, I can no longer FC the 6 stars that I have in front of me. How do I get better? Do I replay those 6 stars over and over and over again, or what do I do? And I take a look back at how did I improve before, and you don't improve by playing the same, or okay, you do improve by playing the songs over and over, but there's a easier way of improving, which is pushing yourself forward. Play something that's
Yeah,
harder than your skill level. And so what did I do? I started playing nervous breakdowns. I started playing maps that are unranked. Not only CLSWs, but a couple of other people's. And what that does is it trains you to read a higher AR, which I'm actually getting better at. AR 10 doesn't seem so far fetched now. Like, I used to think, oh, AR10 is basically impossible. I'm never gonna be that good, and now I can actually see it in the distant future. I'm like, oh, maybe one day I could actually read AR10. But like, it the boundaries need to be kept pushing because people just can't. Like, again, going back to this gap between the 4, 5, and 6 stars, there are not enough. There are not. There are not enough maps for a player to gradually increase their skill level. It's just
Yeah.
as plain as it gets. When I was ranking up, there were not enough maps, and I had to fight through against it by playing higher level things, and I made it through. But if a lot of people dislike that, if a lot of people can't go against that flow of playing higher level songs to get better and really want that flow and skill curve that you get when there are maps to play, that flow isn't gonna be there because there are no maps being ranked at that skill level. If the number of 4 and 5 star maps keeps decreasing as it is, there's too many people gonna be stuck at 3.9 stars and below, and they won't be able to cross the gap into the
Yeah.
4 star.
And the reason why people are saying that Catch the Beat is slowly like
Dying.
going back.
Like
Yeah,
going
it's
back
slow,
to going
it's
back to Amlink, Catch the Beat is dying.
well,
Like,
it
somewhat.
now a lot of people would say no, it's just overreacting to it, but is actually right in a way because what CLSW did was increase the skill cap pretty much of everyone.
Yeah.
And what they're doing right now with ranking only platters is pretty much stopping people from having higher difficulties to play. So a lot of people are gonna play platters for a longer time, and they're gonna like get stuck in it, kind of.
Exactly.
They're gonna get like they're not gonna improve, and they won't like since the old maps are gonna lose in popularity, they won't like know all these maps. Like a new player right now is gonna see what is gonna see all the free PP maps that everyone's talking about and all the platters that's getting ranked. That's
yeah.
what he's gonna see. He's not gonna see all the good Kizuno maps that are unranked or the intensity maps that are ranked.
You know, one of my favorite
unranked.
maps, Sphinx? One of my favorite, like, all-time favorite maps. I like beating the CLSW map. I'm gonna bring it up on screen. Is Did You See That Shadow? The lunatic
Oh yeah,
diff.
yeah.
The lunatic diff.
Isn't it from ZH Steven?
Yeah,
I
it's
think?
it's from ZH Steven, which I didn't even know was a mapper. And as soon as I started researching ZH Steven on the request of a friend of mine, Ian, it turns out that he's one of the most influential people to create the Catch the Beat mapping style as we know it today. Because even though CLSW pushed forward the boundaries of what a person can play, ZH Steven basically laid the foundation to how patterns look like, right? And going back to Did You See That Shadow? It's a 4-star. But if you really take a look at it, it has some of the best implemented technique that I have ever seen in a map. It is just amazing how well it flows, how mechanically intensive it is. Like, but people won't know about it. It's old, it's aging well, but it's not as rewarding as other 4-stars that are out there right now.
I think like well, it's not the only one doing this. Like Dave
it's not the
at
only
the
one.
start, Dave like the big like mappers at the start that really created the mapping, the first mapping style kinda. Where in my opinion, like Dave, ZH Steven, Orsa, Drafura,
yeah.
and like wait, who was there more than the like there was even Louis Cypher. It did like a lot of Catch the Beat maps too, and like these guys really started the
trends,
Catch
basically.
the Beat mapping style, yeah. And after that, it just improved kinda, and then
then it started getting worse.
Like then it all evolved kinda, and then we started seeing the Korean mapping, which is like now a really big part, like from compared to like the Western mapping and European mapping, which were kinda like not really skill based, but now they are kind of skill based, but that's not really what I meant. But it's like they're not really they weren't meant to be like impossible and really hard to pass or really to raise the skill level. They were just like maps to play that felt pretty nice and catch the beat. That's
You
it.
know, one of the maps that I think has well, one of the good maps that has not aged well is Wing My Way.
Yeah, the hell jumping.
Hill
This
jumping.
map is so
That
fucking
that
hard.
that map is like that map should be weighted 6 stars. I'm not even fucking kidding you.
And it's not even 4 stars.
Like it's not even 4 stars. Like the jumps are just ridiculous. The spacing
Yeah,
is.
and you can see it. You can see it
I
like
know.
how much FCs is there on that? Less than 10, I think. Less than 10
There's
on
more.
the
There's more
4 years
now, but
old.
like it's such an old
It's
map.
4 years old.
It's such an old
Yeah.
map.
Look at Oriental, for example.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's probably 250 hidden FCs, like hidden full combos,
Oh yeah.
250 of it, and it's from last year.
I know.
And
Oh
like
yeah.
this hell jumping map is from, I don't know, it's from like 4 years, something like this, and there's like less than 10 full combos. Like this is just how you see that the PP system it probably isn't a good thing for Catch the Beat,
Exactly.
and like the star system and everything like this.
Well, one of the things that, for example, you also notice in the trends of what people like is people like active maps, people like short maps as well, and that's
Yeah.
really obvious when you look at the 6 stars because a lot of 6 stars do have like all 50 spots placed on FCs. So like things like uh, well, Xeno's obvious. Da 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 is all FCs. Um,
The Ababa mix to like the
Towa Yori
Serena.
Towani is all FCs. Blue is all FCs. Um, uh, Asymmetry is all FCs. But you look at things like Noi, I think it's pronounced. That's what they call it, anyways. I pronounce it New, but apparently it's Noi in its actual language. And I still hold number 21 spot. When I placed my score on it, it was number 13.
Yeah.
It's been almost a year. It's only gone down like 7 spots. It's a long map. Starts off really slow, very technical. It is worth a lot of PP, but a lot of people don't see the point in playing it. It's as simple as that. The reason
Yeah,
why there are
because
no
it's a
more
long
FCs,
map.
it's because it's long and people are lazy. Again,
Yeah, and
going
because
back to the
it's not
ideology,
free.
if it's not free PP, it's not worth playing. That's what a lot of people think.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people hate convert maps too,
Exactly.
because it's not free PP. Like you can see people like some newer people now FCing Xeno. How much is Xeno? Or 6 stars probably, something like this.
637.
Something. Yeah. Now they can't even like full combo a 4-star convert.
Oh yeah.
Like this is just dumb. And I think like a good remedy to all this thing would be like bringing back the score system, not the score ranking system. Like it's probably the most optimal thing for Catch the Beat, since Catch the Beat like the star rating as it is right now is completely irrelevant, in my opinion at least. And like the score system would really show like you have to play every map for this, and it would make greater players because they would play longer maps to get higher score and stuff like that. Like it would make it probably more balanced players in everything pretty much, because they'll play longer maps, they play so they'll be more consistent and everything, and that's why I think a lot of old players are really better than what we see now.
I think that the main problem with the old ranking system, though, or yeah, with the old ranking system in general, that would need to be addressed for this to even be viable, is the fact that if you don't address that each song is different in difficulty from one another, people can still farm the easiest difficulty with HDHR DT flashlight, and suddenly they got a number 1 score, and suddenly the leaderboards are not working. Like you can just farm the easy maps for scores or for number 1s, and then you get an unbalanced system because it's not taking into account the difficulty of the actual song. The reason why that system was replaced was because it was fairly obvious. Now, I'm not saying the system that we have right now is perfect, because it's far from it. We're already addressing many of the issues that are
Yeah.
in the system, but it's better than a system that can be immediately farmed by attaining a top score.
Yeah.
Um,
But
like there are issues that need to be addressed. Like for example, I've put a lot of thought into like system ranking systems that might work for OSU, but like as far as I can tell, there's nothing that would address every problem the way everybody wants it addressed. And it's because people play at different skill levels, and that really messes up with how difficult something is. Because at the higher end, some people might find wall jumps more difficult than short high speed jumps. So
yeah.
because at the higher end, people tend to adapt their playstyle to what they're actually good at. It becomes difficult measuring how difficult something is, because some people are good at it, some people are not. So you have
Yeah.
this unbalance, and it's things to look at. Like right now, there's no solution, but I'm not saying there is no solution at all. Like there's probably one. We're just overlooking it, and it has to be something creative. That's probably the key word. Like as soon as somebody creative comes up with a ranking system that could actually work for OSU, um, and pitches it to Pepe, like things could change. Things could change. One of the cool ideas that I heard actually from Ian of all people was that maybe they should make the ranking system work on 1v1s.
Oh, like a solo queue ladder
Like
thing.
a solo queue ladder thing. And
Yeah.
I was like, that is single-handedly one of the most stupid things I've heard, and one of the most reasonable things I've heard at the same time. Like, let's think about it. If you're 1v1ing somebody, you're training on consistency. Your consistency will affect how good you are in the ranking ladder board. Because if you can play the same map 100 times and FC it once, is not the same as if you play that map against somebody else and FC it that single run. Like
Yeah.
it could be a real way of ranking people. It's interesting, but it's not perfect as well, because then you get to the point where, again, at the higher end, because people are playing different things, the rankings are going to be somewhat skewed still. But it might work for the medium to low end, because it will really generate is a player playing consistently, and is a player playing better than the other player.
Yeah. Well,
It
there's
could
like
work.
maybe you've heard of the OSU SQL thing.
I have not.
It's like so basically it's a bot made for solo queue ladder in standard. Pretty much you get you like you you enter a queue via the bot by text,
Okay.
and like it searches someone of your rank in the ladder,
Okay.
and it's like when you get an opponent, you get matched up in the multiplayer pretty much. There's like map pools created by Azer and a lot of other top players, and it's made by maybe you know the player Sane in CtB, a
Oh
Korean
yeah.
player.
Yes.
So it's made by him, and I mean he made the base code with some other people, and Ascendance is the guy doing most of the community work on it. And Sane told me that he'll try to make one for Catch the Beat, but it's like he's trying to, but there's just not enough people willing to like do. Ascendance would do the community stuff, but like there's not people won't play that in Catch the Beat
Like
because
there's
it's
not
not like
enough
standard.
adopters. There's like adopters is the word that you're looking for. Like there's not enough people willing to say I will play in it
Yeah, yeah,
exclusively just to help you, like build up the both the code and the community at the same time, basically. Um,
yeah,
that is really interesting. Like I will pop in my eyes in there. That could be in like it is basically what we were just talking about. Like a 1v1 queue could potentially be one of the fixes for Catch the Beat ranking system. Now going back to the like we looked at the pros for a 1v1 system, but let's look at the cons, and you immediately see it's competitive.
yeah. And it's
Like
gonna create even more drama and stuff like this.
exactly.
Like,
It
r-
is extremely competitive, and it's one of those things that, like, when you're playing Catch the Beat, people who don't care about rank don't care about rank. Period. But people who do care about rank will play for rank, whether it be PP farming or whether it be actually tryharding really hard songs. But they will try really hard to be competitive. And I would say I'm a fairly competitive person. I tried my best, and although I don't care for rank that much anymore, I still like to hold that number 150 spot. I don't want to go higher than that because I think it's too much of an effort, but I don't like losing it. It feels to me less if I'm losing a part of myself once I lose like less than 159. I go like, no, time to farm some songs. I gotta get back up there. It's that magical number that I like, right?
Yeah.
And if you put like, and again, I participate. I don't participate in tournaments that much, but CWC is fairly important for me, anyways. But going back to that single versus single competitive, you're gonna have like all of the stress in the 1v1 match, and like drama can arise from it, as you said. Like, let's say you had XCon versus, I don't know, fucking somebody else, and XCon loses a match, and suddenly everyone goes like, oh my god, he's better than him. And it's the same thing as have you ever played Smash Brothers Melee?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but in the US it has a fairly competitive scene. And
Yeah. I know.
during a very long time before the release of a documentary talking about players' experiences playing the game, shit talking was basically the game.
Yeah.
It's a fairly competitive game. It's 1v1s. It's just like we're imagining this Q2B, and you have a large player base backing a single player, and another large player base backing the other single player, and you have them fight against each other, and the communities would be shit talking behind your back against your enemy or against you, and you'd have the stress of everyone screaming like as you're sitting in front of a TV with 200 people behind you or more. And it's the same thing that would happen in Catch the Beats or in Osu specifically if a queue like that were to be implemented as the main method. It's like you have people screaming at you, oh XCon, why didn't you beat him? And in the end it could be
Yeah.
two
It could be a quit.
it could be Hyper W7 is just better at snapping maps than XCon is, for example. I don't I That's just an
Yeah.
example, not meant to be realistic, but like different players have different skill levels, and again, at the higher end this just wouldn't work, and at the lower end people aren't interested because people who don't play for rank just plain don't play for rank. They play their
Yeah.
platters because they like to play those platters, or they play overdoses because they like to play their overdoses, but even though they can't beat them, or even if they can beat them, if they don't care about their rank, they just plain don't care. And if they do
Yeah.
care, it might get overly centralized on caring about that magical number.
Yeah. And like trash talking is a part of every game, and like
Oh yeah.
like I don't know if you've ever been to a Counter-Strike LAN, like
Uh,
especially for like Counter-Strike Source.
Not in
Uh,
my
I,
time because I didn't get to play Counter Strike that much until
yeah,
Global Offensive.
but like when for example like you went in Paris and went to some lands for Counter-Strike Source, like shit talking is pretty much what does the fun and everything. It's like
Exactly.
that in a lot of games, a lot of
Exactly.
competitive games.
Like
People are gonna shit talk.
like
Like when you see on Counter-Strike, for example, like on like not high budget lands, you're just like the only thing between you and the enemy is like your screen, pretty much. There's your screen and the enemy screen like back to back to your screen,
yeah.
and you're like all cramped up in like a room with other 50 people or something like this.
Yeah.
And it's like it's pretty much when you're gonna kill them, you're gonna like trash talk them directly. Like trash
Exactly.
talk is a part of every competitive game, and I think it's so like it's
It
a
it
thing
it,
that's necessary for
I
every
wouldn't
game.
say it's necessary because that's excessive, and some people like will get hurt by trash talking. That there
Yeah,
is
yeah, but
they will get butt hurt, like believe me. And I mean I'm guessing you know this as well. And for example,
yeah,
in my case, I didn't really get to go to many Counter Strike lands because I just wasn't that deep in that scene at the moment. But like I got to live through the first years of League of Legends, and the Victoria specifically, the city where I live in, had a pretty big scene. Like at one point, we actually had like 5 out of the top 50 spots in Challenger living in the city. like
yeah,
like there was a big scene, of high ranking players, and there was a big scene of local tournaments, both at internet cafes, at conventions, uh, and they accepted all kinds of players ranging from all skill levels. I was always a silver scrub, will never be different. At one point, I was almost gold. That's basically my achievement in League of Legends. But I got to play in those tournaments, and I got to play against the higher ranked players, and I got to play against the lower ranked players, and it was always about the shit talking. But
Yeah.
as the game evolves, you try, or the community itself starts to learn that that's not the way to go. And it's the same thing that happened in Smash, and it's probably the same thing that will eventually happen at Counter-Strike, although Counter-Strike might be slightly different because you're actually killing people in the game, so it might be still that competitive. But eventually, the community learns that shit-talking the other team kind of doesn't really do anything except get them emotionally despaired, and then they start, like, underplaying and shit like that, right? And that's things that you don't want in your competitive community. So things start changing, like, as you go through the timeline of your video game. But then again, it also involves, like, League of Legends is kind of dying in a small sense. Like, it's not as big as it was before, I would say. Even though it, like,
Yeah.
in numbers it keeps growing, but more people are disinterested. I think newer players exist, but the older players are just sitting there or quitting. They're kind of like refreshing their player base at this point.
Yeah. Well, right now what's happening is a lot of older players are just leaving, and it happens to a lot of game. Like when there's a big
Well,
change
yeah.
or like a lot of new players coming in, there's always a lot of old players like going away.
Oh yeah.
Like you can see a lot of people like don't have interest in the game anymore, and like just in France, you can see that like I play a lot less, Shots plays a lot less, and like even if you look at Rentenzian, this guy just he doesn't even care about the game anymore. He just comes in, does a really insane score, and is like, yeah, this game is boring, and is out. Like the player base is really like the old players are really starting to leave and
But
lose interest
do you
because of all
follow
the
do you follow the
low
mania
level
scene?
stuff.
Do you follow Osu mania scene?
Kinda.
You know who GH Lee is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he basically map gets ranked, comes in, plays the score,
Yeah.
goes back to playing Step Mania and other Korean I 2DX games and stuff like that. He like Osu is not a primary game at this point. Even though it is competitive, even though it has a leaderboard, even though it has songs, it doesn't have enough songs to satisfy high ranking players that are not playing standard. Standard has
Yeah.
a bunch of songs that are like, let's just bring up Speed of Link. Like, why is this ranked in standard, but it isn't ranked in Catch the Beat, for example? Like, like
Well, there's a reason for that though.
okay, like all of the FCs in here are with halftime, and there's a single
Yeah.
person who in the top 50, in the top 20, sorry, that has an 8 miss on it. If people, no, if there are difficult songs in standard that require halftime for you to get in the top 50, why can't there be songs in Catch the Beat that are that hard? Like,
Well, that's the bitmap nomination team again. I
Exactly.
like what we got on before. They're just like not enough high level players in that specific team, and
oh yeah,
it just
but
like they won't be like they don't want to try to rank something hard and then they can play, because they're gonna be like, oh, maybe I'm not doing my job correctly. Maybe like this is too hard for everyone and not only just me.
well, yeah, but going back to that, nobody can play fucking Speed of Link. Let's just put it out there. Like, maybe Cookiezi, and I don't know if he's tried, but
No, Kukizi can. I mean, not with his speed right now.
but like, I mean, the map is out there, it's ranked, but I can bet you like $1 million. If I had them, I would bet you $1 million. None of the BNs in standard were able to play it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
for
as
sure.
simple as that, and it's as simple as
But
that for the Catch the Beat BNs to realize that they're crap and that they should be more open to the ideas that some maps they're just not gonna be able to play, but they're good.
Yeah, but there's one point too about the speed of link map. It's from KG Stir or something like this. Like it is a really well-known mapper in standard. That's like he speed ranks pretty much everything he does.
Oh, okay,
And like
but we have
this guy
CLSW.
is really, yeah, but it's not really like CLSW. CLSW doesn't like he isn't I won't say as popular as him because he is
Well,
probably
okay,
more popular than him in CtB, but like
well, yeah.
he's just more I don't know, is not really fitting well with the bitmap nominators and all these people. Like CLSW really has his own way of thinking about maps and his way of thinking if a map is good or not. And
Let me just stop you for a second. Thank you for the follow. Continue.
and it's like in standard that KG Stir guy is like everyone respects him and they're like he doesn't even give a shit if someone's gonna tell him that his map is bad. He's gonna be like, I don't care, I'm gonna get it ranked. I know everyone in this fucking game. I'm gonna get it ranked. That's it. That's kind of how it works in Catch the Beat with some people, but not with CLSW, sadly.
And you just killed me, you. Well, what can I say? I had to thank the follow, not the sub. I wish I had subs. But yeah, basically, that's the thing though. Like CLSW is probably the only person who I would consider just that high, not high ranking, but for the specific term, high ranking in the sense of beat mapping. Like he's the only player who, like, if he mapped whatever he mapped, if I was a BN, I would just automatically like bubble it. Like there's no player I could trust more with making a map than CLSW. Like there are other people who could get to that point if they consistently made good maps, but off the bat, like if CLSW makes a map, it's probably really good off the bat and needs very little to no modding. And it's exactly why, for example, he's trying to get image material rank right now.
Yeah,
But have
I
you
would
seen
love to see
have you
that.
seen the modding queue? It's empty.
Yeah, no
Like
one wants to fucking
as
do
much
this.
as much as I wanna try to mod it, I can't
too
find
hard.
anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
It's
because
too
like
hard.
people, a lot of people try to mod just to um, like just to I don't know, to like get the guy down or something. Like they just
Yeah,
want to try to mod to get his map fucked or something like this. But you can't do that with CLSW or with any really skilled mapper. You cannot do that, and that's
exactly.
why like there's no mods on it.
Exactly.
Because like most of the mods right now, the people who mod usually can't even play that map. Hello
Exactly.
Magic Bomb, etc. And
Pretty much.
like um they just can't play it. They can't do shit about it. Maybe he
Oh
can play
yeah.
it with half time, but he can't even get to that level of mapping in his life.
Oh
Like
yeah.
not of playing it, but of mapping. He won't ever get to that level probably.
It's true.
And like because of that is trying to he can't really find anything to shit on the map, so
Yeah.
he's just
E-
not
e-
he's not even bothering
even when
modding
trying
it.
to make a legit mod, like I look at it, I play it, and it just flows. Like
Yeah,
I can't say anything
because it
is
took
wrong with
time.
it. Like
That's because
and
it took
it's
time
just the
doing.
hard part, right? Like I can go to somebody who's mapping their first overdose and tell them, you did this wrong, this doesn't flow well. It's just obvious because I'm a high ranking player and I know how a map should look like. And I go and look at CLSW's map and I go like, this is hard. I can't FC this, at least in my current state. But as far as I can tell you, there's just nothing wrong with it. Like I'm just bad at the game. Like if I play and retry every part of the song and I go through the different parts of the song and I try to FC them, they're all FCable, they're all accessible, they're just hard. And it's kind of hard to just like mod it if there's particularly nothing that stands out as being wrong. And so you need
Yeah.
higher ranked players to look at it, but when you look at the skill curve, who's going to be playing a 9-star map? The top 10 basically. Because even
Well,
though
no, it's actually really kind of overweighted, but the map is really playable by I think the whole top 100
Yeah,
anyone skilled enough like to play just fast maps
I
can
can
play it
I can
because it
get like
flows really
I
well.
can get about a 1.5k combo before breaking and just like shitting on myself the entire rest of the song. It's just basically too stressful because of the speed and length of the map, and it's obvious that like it's not
Yeah.
meant for my speed level. I mean for my skill level, but even then the skill curve just doesn't really build up. It might be slightly more overweighted than like it shouldn't be 9 stars maybe, but it's definitely not, for example, a 7 star map. Like it's not
Yeah,
near like
I
if
actually
we take
think
if we take Genryu Kaiko as the baseline of what a 6.93 star map should look like, because it does look like a 6.93 star map.
mm,
Um
yeah.
it really does kind of like, is it a 7 star? No,
It kind of it's close to it.
it's
It's
like
close to it.
is it a 9 star? Maybe not. Is it an 8 star? I guess it could be like an 8.4, 8.2, something like that. But like if you really take a look at it, because the star rating is meant to be exponential, right? Like the difficulty from 1 star to the other is severely increased.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty obvious when you go
But
from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. From 3 to 4 stars, that jump was probably the hardest when learning the game.
yeah, it's pretty much going to platter
Exactly.
like from platter to rain.
So going from 6 to 7, I mean excluding AugOEidEs because AugOEidEs is just fucking
Uh,
overweighted. Going from 6 to 7 and then from 7 to 8, image material looks more like a early 8 star map
yeah,
than
I
a
would say
7 star.
I would say the actual difficulty of image material is like the star rating of the AugOEidEs map right now. Like the AugOEidEs is probably like 550, might be close to 6, probably because of the fast part, and
I don't.
that's about it. But
I
like
wouldn't
the
rate
image
more
material,
AugOEidEs. I wouldn't rate AugOEidEs more than 5.9 stars.
yeah,
I would say
it's like an overdose.
it's
It's
not a 6 star. Like it's long, it kills stamina, but it like overall technically in technique, it is just not technically heavy
Yeah,
uh,
it should be around the same
enough
as
to be
Towa.
considered a good overdose. Anyways,
Yeah, it should be the same as Towa Yori, pretty much, in my opinion. Like the CLSW map.
Toayori actually plays really technically though compared to
Yeah, but
AugOEidEs.
it should
Um,
be
that
around the same
but
level and the same PP gain, in my
but
opinion.
like Toayori isn't that bad. Toayori is actually, oh god, why is it not finding stuff? I think my Osu might be having some issues, as you can see. So we're gonna. Okay, it responded. Let's look at Toayori. And the bugs everywhere. I can tell you that. Okay. Going past the Osu fallback client, now that it's slightly less buggy. Toayori is weighted at 6.18 stars.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair
and I
rating
think
for it. I don't
yeah,
think
pretty much.
AugOEidEs exactly matches that. AugOEidEs is speedy, but it's not as technically complex as Toayori, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
it uses a lot of the same patterns. So
I would rate it more as a 5.9 rather than a 6.2. Just saying, in my
yeah, kind
opinion.
of.
But
Yeah, yeah, you can rate on that.
going back to image material,
Yeah, Towa Yori is a pretty good map.
it's 9 stars right now. Like
But like
I wouldn't say it's 7.4. But again, this is where you start looking at the again at the difficulty spread, because as you say, you find speedy maps easier, but I find them not harder, but just not super hard, right?
yeah,
Like okay, like you say it's more weighted as a 7 star. I say it's more weighted as an 8 star, and it's again where these differences start appearing more, because as you get to the higher end, you start seeing the differences where a player finds something easier and a player finds something harder. So this is where the PP system or the star rating system is really gonna be skewed by our ability to determine how a map looks like.
yeah. And this is why Tom, like the guy who
Yeah, Tom
created the
94.
PP, yeah. This guy said to that he wanted he didn't want to make it as it is right now. He didn't think that the outcome would be this because he actually created it,
Mm-hmm.
looking at Hexagon plays and like the what Hexagon found hard or like easy, but so he did that way, and Hexagon apparently when we see the outcome right now, apparently said that it was more of the speed that was hard for him than the like jump precision, I'd say, like the plateau control.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why it happens, right? Like now, that, and that now we have like fast maps getting a lot of star rating. M Most of the time, not really. It's not really worth the star rating. But um, like the old PPV2 was more on jump distance, but it was still not good. Like there'll always be a problem with it.
Yeah.
Like if you like with the old one, it was like the long easy jumps were really overrated.
Yeah,
So he
because
kind of nerfed it,
things
but
like
he
Go
nerfed it
Berserk
so
were the
much that
farm.
now it's yeah, but he nerfed it so much that now it's worth nothing, and that's why most of the convert don't give anything pretty much.
Exactly.
Like there'll probably never be a perfect PP system or like
Well, it's
a
because if the
one that
PP,
satisfies
okay,
everybody.
the thing is, if the PP system keeps focusing on rating a single thing more than a single other thing, it's gonna continue on the same trend that we see right now.
Yeah,
Because first it was long jumps, now it's short, fast jumps, and then who knows what we'll see next. But if they keep focusing on a single point, it's just not gonna improve because, again, at the higher end, people play differently, and some people, I think mostly at the lower end, still find wall jumps really hard. But most of
yeah,
us can agree that wall jumps get really easy as you get better at the game.
yeah.
It's
As you
just
get used
like
to the hyperdash thing,
exactly.
pretty much.
So people like that's why Go Berserk was on the profile of so many people. It wasn't because it was, well, it was farm, but it was because it was easy to play and it was considered hard at the time. I think, again, going back to, is a 1v1 system the best option? I don't think so. Is it a
No,
good
it's
is it a
probably
good
not.
option? Potentially.
I think it's a good option
Then
as a second ranking, in
and
my opinion.
then like for example, let's take a look at a system that, for example, used a pentagon or a sort of like square or shape of sorts, that measured, for example, um, uh, sight reading versus consistency versus speed versus memory versus something else. And I talked about this with my dad, actually, of all people, and he, like, when I pitched him the idea, and his response was as simple as, you have to consider that the general public doesn't want to look at a complex piece of information. They want a simple answer to, are they good or are they bad? So it's like, if you implement a really complex system, people will avoid it. And if you implement a really simple system, you get a system like the one that we have right now, where something is weighted and then something is not, and then people fight over it because something is hard and something isn't.
Yeah.
And it's fairly obvious that, for example, standard converts are really hard in their own way. And some maps with, for example, pixel jumps are really hard in their own way. But they're not weighted enough for people to think it's worth it for them to play it.
Yeah. Well, I think a like not well I would say potential fix, but it's not really a fix. It's just like to make it better than it is, but not really fixing anything. It would be like take the middle of like both of the PP system that we had, like PP with like this one and the one before, add jumps for a bit of PP and nerf speed a bit. So it takes like exactly the middle of both of the last PP system, and I think that would make it like better for converts and better even for some for example the Wing My Way. Wing My Way
Yeah.
would be weighted a bit more because it's like long jumps but not hyper dashes, so it's not speed,
Oh
and
yeah.
thus it doesn't give any PP or like star rating whatsoever. But like there's really no fix to it. The problem with it right now is just people focusing too much on it, and I think that's the
Yeah,
most like the biggest
that's a pretty good point
biggest
to
problem.
bring up, and that's something that Ian always bothers me about. And he's like, PP means nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's
That's kinda
like,
true.
well, when you look at it one way, you can think that way, and when you look at it the other way, it simply doesn't. It's not a valid point, because if you put it one way, some people again are competitive, they care about the rank, and therefore they care about PP. And then some people
Yeah,
that don't care about their rank don't care about their PP, and that's completely valid. But it's like saying PP is not important is like saying grading kids in school is not important either. It's like
I
some
wouldn't
people care
say.
about their grades, some people don't. But in the
Yeah,
end, it's completely up to you, right? Like, it's not useless, but it's not the most important thing at the moment.
yeah.
Because it
Like
just
I
doesn't
wouldn't say.
measure everything properly at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's useless, but I would say it's non-relevant. Like it doesn't really
At the high,
tell
at
the
the
skill
higher,
level.
okay, at the higher end, I could probably agree with you, but at the lower end, right now, I think it's fairly easy to tell. More than the PP, looking at someone's scores. Like, if you see what they're playing, you can tell what type of player they are. If they're playing stuff that is not PP farm, anyways,
Yeah, but like
because you can tell
for
if they're
example,
snap players or if they're speed players, if they're DT players, etc., etc. You can tell, and you can judge them based on that. But once you get to the higher end level, it kind of becomes a little bit harder because everyone has the same scores. So
yeah,
it's kind of
but
like,
like
okay, how do you judge that? And then you get into the 1v1s, and for example, I can say that sometimes like God just blesses upon me, and I can beat Jimmy Rustler in like a 1v1 on a CSW map because I can sight read some things better than he can. But play any other map and he just wrecks the face out of me because I'm just a lower skilled player. And
yeah,
it's like, okay, rank doesn't matter that much because I'm 1v1ing a top 10 player and sometimes winning, but it doesn't mean nothing because even though I can 1v1 him sometimes, the majority of the times I can't. So it becomes pretty obvious that the rank is still useful in determining someone's average skill level at this point.
yeah. Well, it really depends though, because you look at someone like Drestar or Evangeline. Like Drestar is probably the best HD player in the game, and Evangeline is one of the best no mod player in the game, and they're both like not even top 200.
Oh yeah.
Like Drestar does some fucking incredible scores that no one can do. Like even XCon can do some of his HD scores. That's just how good he is, and is not even top 200. I think it's near 400 right now. I'm gonna check it, but like he just
Okay.
did vicinity
One of the
in
prime
HD.
examples of
Like
that was actually Lesher. And okay, we're gonna put the main desktop back into view. And Lesher was a Canadian player. I don't know if you ever met him.
uh, I don't think so. Maybe I
He
did. I don't know.
like if you look at the Canadian leaderboard, you'll see that a lot of people have like, I don't know, 20k plays, 10k plays plus, and then you see Rylika because that's his current name. And with 5k plays, he was, even though he didn't have that great of scores, like if you actually 1v1 him on an HR play or a DR10 play, chances are you were gonna lose. His ability to rank up really fast and perform really well at high AR, like, we all thought he was gonna be just the next Kip. Like, we thought he was gonna be number one Canada. And then he just quit randomly. It's such a shame. But, like,
Yeah,
some players are just, like, really good. And they're, like, whether they get to the point where, like, for example, like you said, they get stuck at 400 because the game just doesn't reward them enough, or whether they just quit. The rankings are again very skewed. Some people are good, some people are bad, and some people are not rewarded for being better than others. Like like Ian tells me constantly. Actually, he sucks your dick about it pretty much. But he's like, oh, Vinx is so underrated. He should be like top 100. And I go like, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to Vinx that much, but it's probably true. But I
Uh,
mean, I could say
I
the
don't,
same thing about a lot of people, and
yeah.
like, then you end up with like, oh, so many people are worth it of top 100, but wait, there's only 100 spots in top 100, so it's like, okay,
But yeah, like
basically we get nowhere, which is like, okay,
but like I think the ranking right now, like if you want to be top 100, it just shows how much you want to play the game. Like if you look at Wesley, for example, like Wesley could be top 100 whenever the fuck he wants, to be honest. He can play CLSW maps like easily, like really.
I don't
If
remember Wesley. Um,
it,
I remember
and
hearing the
like
name, but I don't remember him.
it's pretty much like he plays like a lot of weird maps, I guess, and like a lot of speed maps, and he could be top 100 really whenever he wants. Like he beats me in pretty much everything, like in the game, and this guy is like almost 300 now. But like there's a lot of people like this. They just don't want to farm, and they don't want to put that much effort in farming, like PP.
Well,
If to me, PP just shows how much you want to play the game and how much you want, like you want that top 100 spot. It's not really based on your skill, because you can see CLSW is like 150 now, and that's pretty funny. Like CLSW
I
being
actually haven't
150 is
seen
kind of a joke.
I haven't seen CLSW play ever. I don't know his skill level sad, but I remember like
Uh,
I remember one of the most rewarding points in my catch the beat career was that new score, and I remember being the one who kicked CLSW out of the top 50 from his own map, and I was just like giggle like I beat Senpai, but it's like I haven't actually ever watched CLSW play, and just based on how he maps, I don't actually know if he's like
it's probably
if he's got tier
it's
enough to play his own maps, or if he just really knows the game well enough
no
that he can
no
map for higher diff.
he's probably good enough to pass his own maps, because he passed Blastix Riots and pretty much every map he did, but not the last one. But he's probably one of the best 20 players this game ever had.
Blastix
He's really
Riots is retarded. Oh my
it's
god.
a really good map though.
Like,
It's really nicely done.
oh, I know. All of the seven deadly sins are really well done. But it's like, oh god, this map is hard.
But this guy is probably one of the 20. Like he should be top 20 for sure. Like 100% sure he should be top 20. This guy is really good.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he can HD pretty much everything too. Like a lot of old players can HD a lot of stuff because they have a good reading. That a lot of new players don't, because they rush AR10 and AR like high AR, so they don't have really a good reading. They just
Well,
like react.
that's
to
one of
things.
the things that I was talking to Kip about, and in the end, we kind of just ended with the conclusion that like I shouldn't really give a fuck. But I was telling him like, well, there's a certain mindset, and I just won't go into the whole Storm versus me thing, but basically like at one point I had a fight with Storm, and it was about what's the best way to be a high ranking player. Is it by sight reading stuff, or is it by memorizing stuff?
Probably memorizing.
And he said it's by memorizing, and I say it's by sight reading. And without going like too far into the whole debate, because in the end Kip is right. I shouldn't really care, because I admit memorizing stuff is really hard as well, and flashlight players have all of my respect. Let's be honest here, not everyone can play flashlight, especially like really hard songs on flashlight, right? But if you want to look at it competitively, which is the way that I look at the game, for example, when I think about CWC, it's about consistency and it's about reading. So if a player walks into a match and is a good sight reader, chances are he can win rather than somebody who spent an hour playing the same map over and over again trying to memorize it, right? Like the effort put into sight reading is lower than the effort put into memorizing because you get eventually good enough that you can sight read everything, right? It just flows
Yeah.
into you. So again, not saying sight reading or memorizing is the way to go because I'm honestly like in the point where I don't care anymore. But if you look at it that way, like if you look at the competitive aspect of Catch the Beat, then sight reading does make more sense. And if you look at the high level play aspect of, for example, Flashlight, then it makes more sense to memorize or hidden. Although hidden not so much because hidden is actually a lot about sight reading as well, and that's something that again a lot of new players don't have, because they just rush into memorizing things. And I've met players that uh, I just look at them and can instantly tell like you're trying to memorize the map, you're not sight reading it. Do this and that, and you can improve in this way and that way and that way. And it's up to them to listen or not, right? But in a way, it kind of takes away from the community because people are not building their overall skill level. And I'm kind of sad that, for example, I didn't get to learn Flashlight. Uh, I don't have that good of a memory to just say, oh yeah, I want to try to be a Flashlight player. It's just I didn't build the skill while I was leveling up, and it's now basically impossible for me because of the way of how I play maps. But I mean, it's cool. Some people can do it, and I think more players should be rewarded for both playing things in lesser play count, and that's a controversial topic in itself. Is play count relevant? Let's talk about that
Yeah.
one. Do you think play count is relevant?
No, not at all. Because first of all, in ranked maps, second offline. You can never know. Like a guy can be like, "Hey, look at me! I'm so good. I have only like 20k play counts,
Okay,
and
okay,
I'm top 50." Yeah, but
okay.
if
But
we look at the unranked maps, you have
let
100k.
yeah. Let's think for a second of a perfect world where the entire game ran online, and even the unranked plays got recorded into your play count. Well,
Then no, it's not relevant.
it's
Because
still
like
it's still not relevant.
yeah, because it just everyone improves at a different rate, so it doesn't say anything.
Well, yeah, but that's the magical thing about it, right? Like, it's not saying, "Oh, I'm better than you," because, well, okay, a lot of people will view it that way. But
Yeah,
for example, when I see somebody with a low play count, like Lesher, in my case, was the only person that I can really say I got to know with a really low play count, and I there was some admiration to it. He had talent. It's like you're really good at the game in a way that even I wasn't, and it's kind of cool. And it's not about like, oh, you're way better than me. Oh my god, but it's like it's cool. It's nice to know that the overall the skill level of the community is increasing to a point where like players are getting to the top 1k faster than before.
yeah,
And I mean, in a perfect world where you could trust everybody to have a or let's say the game actually ran online 100% and you could trust the play count, then I think it would be sort of relevant to see how fast the person improved. Not because it says you're better than somebody else, but because it says something about the way that you play the game, and either that you have a born talent with it, or that you really take your time to improve on a play-to-play basis.
yeah,
I think it's something special, but I wouldn't say it's exactly like super important. Because, for example, Ian is still better than me in some ways, and his play count is like 20k above mine or something. At least 10k, I think. And it's like, okay, well, I don't diss him for having a higher play count, but I always make fun of him, saying like, well, the thing is, like, when you take a look at it, like, I improved faster than you, and it's a tiny mind game with people. It's not exactly like super competitive, but it's kind of funny seeing how people improve.
yeah,
I think it's not irrelevant. That's my stance on it. If I mean, at least in the perfect world where every play count was counted.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I can see what you mean.
I think we went through all of our topics pretty pretty drastically, actually. Oops, that shouldn't have been opened. Fuck. Okay. I was trying to avoid that. Okay. Yeah. So we've gone through all of our topics. Does the chat have anything they want us to cover as of this point?
I don't know. Shy, you there?
I'm asking them right now, right? Like they have my chat open over there, and we have Shy. Shy Heart is here. Yeah. So do you have anything that you'd like us to talk about?
Well, it would be better saying it in the Twitch chat, to be honest. So like there's other people who could interact with it. But I'll be right back, like just grabbing a drink.
Yep. My Skype actually crashed. It's like, I mean, I'm still in the call, but the actual software for it is like completely bugged out. Yeah, well, like we covered all of our topics. Like everything we wanted to talk about has been talked about in one way or another. Even the topics that we didn't really have to talk about, like play count. Does the chat have any questions or topics that they want us to talk about? Is the real question. Shyard is a boy. Now we know.
Let's not talk about the is Shyard a girl or boy thing. It's a meme that way, like it's kind of the Elysian thing. No one will ever know.
Well, what can we do?
So yeah. Wait. I think there was like a topic on about high level easy is an oxymoron or something like this. I don't know about that. I think Smudge said that. But yeah, I think easy at really high level is pretty fucking hard.
Dude,
at low level it's easy.
I mean, okay. Like your map is a prime example of why high CS is actually difficult. High CS low AR should be weighted a little bit more if there's enough movement to make a valid point on a song being difficult. Because Vink's song meets those two requirements, and it's fun. If you haven't played it, I have it right here. I'll show it again. I showed it earlier in the stream, but I'll show it again. I'll show myself playing it, actually. And I'm not that good. This is actually one of my worst runs. But, like... It's hard. But it's hard to read more than anything, but it's not impossible, and it's very, very fun to play.
The thing with like having such big circles in game is that it messes up with the reading a lot. That's why a lot of people can't play easy. Well, easy is another thing, but like the CS0 maps.
Yeah.
It's like it's pretty much like just messing up with your reading of the hyper dashes and like the reading of the distance between fruits, pretty much.
That belongs to HR and DP.
That really depends though, because like flashlight is there too, and like hidden is there too, easy is there too. Like I think the metagame thing is really dumb. Like there's no metagame in a skill-based game like us. Like it's not really in the metagame. It's just easier to get PP that way. That's it. That's not.
I think one of the things with with hidden though is that when you put it into perspective, anyone that can play no mod should technically be able to play hidden. Now, I'm not saying this is a reality, but when you look at it,
it
when
is a reality for some
well,
players.
okay, well, yeah, but when you look at it objectively, if you can play the map in no mod, and FC it, it means you can FC it in HD, because in HD the only thing that happens is the lower half of your screen is invisible.
Yeah, you just need to read higher.
The notes don't move anywhere else. They stay in the same position. They fall at the same rate. They just turn invisible halfway through. So technically, objectively, you shouldn't have any issues going from no mod to hidden. However, there are things that change that, and there are players who can't do that, including myself. And I mean, I like it. It's not a perfect world, right? Not all no mod players can read hidden, and not all hidden players can read no mod. That's a very interesting one. So some people just exclusively play hidden, and if you put them on no mod, they go like, oh, I can't play this. It's really funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but you can see that with Titobas. Like, he's really good at no mod. He's probably
Exactly.
with XCon the best no mod player.
Yeah.
And he can play HD. Like, he doesn't like playing HD. He said it multiple times that it's a retarded mod, and he still does really fucking insane HD scores.
Yeah.
But because for him it's just the same. He just has to read higher a bit, and it's exactly the same.
A very skilled no mod player should be able to read HD without a problem. Because because a really good or a really skilled no mod player reads the top of his screen instead of reading the bottom of the screen.
No, that's not really true.
Okay, the thing
means
is,
that
like,
he can change the reading.
The thing is, like, yeah, he can change the reading. That's one of the points of it, and that's one of the points that I like. For example, I've been meaning to talk about in like a catch the beat technique video, and it's like, should you read bottom, mid, or top of your screen? And in the end, while I haven't made this video, it's pretty obvious that it's just preference. I can't tell you to read one way or another, but I can tell you that objectively the best way to do it would be to read the top of the screen. Because if you look at it objectively, it'll give you more space to work on in HD, HR, and DT. In the end, objectively, reading the top of the screen is the most efficient way of reading it. However, it is up to you completely as preference to read whatever part of the screen you want. For example, I'm a middle half player. I read better when it's close to my platter, but it's because I have the reflexes to kind of compensate for not reading the notes coming from the top of the screen. And even then, I still read top half of the screen sometimes. It's just essential for you. You can't just rely everything on reflexes, because then you fuck up. But yeah, Smudgerocks is making fun of the objectively term that I'm using. So.
Well, like, reading is just it's preference. Like, for example, when I read easy, I just look at the platter. When I read no mod, I'm right above it. Hard rock and hidden, I'm right above the combo, and same for double time. When I read flashlight, I read almost under the platter.
Yeah,
it just changes every time.
Yo, here's a good one, Vinks. What do you think of 224 DJ's easy skin? I think it is.
I think it's just as bad as the AR exploit, in my opinion. Now a lot of players are gonna be like, now like a lot of player, especially the Korean player, will use it because they use it in arcades. Like in arcades, they use like I don't know, like a sweatshirt or something to put it on top of the screen to read better. Like on some games like O2DG and stuff like this, they're gonna put something on the top of the screen to read better. So they do it in game too. Like, this is why I think, like, this is just an exploit to me. This is pretty much disgusting to use.
But okay, I don't know, like, I'm on the side that thinks it's not that bad, but it's kind of like I have a skewed vision on it. Like, I don't think I'm the most qualified person to ask, but if you asked me based on the relevant information that I know, I would say it's valid. as horrible as it may seem, like I would say it just works. I mean, it's no
Yeah,
it's again no different as you said from putting a shirt on top of the top half of your screen, and it's no different than making a skin with bigger circles. I, for example, play on a skin that has a smaller hit circle than the max size of the hit circle, and
yeah.
Ian for an entire year dissed me about it. He was like, "How do you play with this? Why do you make it harder on yourself?" But in the long run, I can read. I mean, I wouldn't say I can read small hit circles better because I can't read the small CSs that well, but I can read more or better than the average person on a smaller hit circle because of that specific reason. I don't play with the max size hit circles like a lot of people do. Again, it's all based on preference, but skinning in itself is nothing that should be punished, in my opinion. It's just as simple
Yeah.
as like it's a skin and it's his preference, and even though it does look bad, I mean it's not against the rules basically. And if it's
But
not against the
I
rules,
think
you can't just say it's bad.
I think like from the perspective of an easy player, like a legit one that doesn't use the skin,
Yeah.
it's really it's like
I mean, you could say it's
I don't
unfair
know.
for him.
Yeah, it's pretty unfair because like play like if you play easy and you try it with the skin, you're gonna see it's fucking easy to read. Like it's so much easier to read, and like it just kills all the actual difficulty. It's
Okay,
not even
okay,
fun
okay.
anymore to do it.
Shire brings a statement here on the it's not against the rules because there are no rules. And I
No,
think
there's no rules about it. That's true.
I think more than there are no rules, it's because skinning is just considered a part of the game. And
Well,
I don't think like if you for example limited a player's ability to skin and which is something that you simply cannot do, by the way. You can't like
oh, you can.
unless you say you cannot make skins anymore.
No, no,
You
no.
can't you
That's
can't just
actually
you
waste.
can't just limit the ability of one players to make skin unless you add things like maximum size and stuff like that, and that would be applying a rule to it. But again, there are no rules to it right now. So
Well,
in my
it
opinion,
happened in standard.
it's kind of like the way of saying you can do with the skin whatever the fuck you want. Like
Not really.
and I
Not
think it's
really.
okay with it.
Because like kind of the same thing happened for easy players in standard when they added the possibility to animate the hit circles in standard.
Okay.
And they added that, and people used that to animate hit circles and to make them pop faster. So like easy with AR like 4.5 would look like AR 9, and that's like a real advantage. And like in standard, it got completely like it got reverted. They just changed everything and they added something to stop people from doing this because
Okay,
they
okay.
said it's changing the AR, so it's basically cheating. And it's
Okay.
the same, it's changing the scrolling speed and catch the
Okay,
beat, so
okay.
changing the AR. So
Okay,
that's the same thing.
but we're going back to that thing. They changed it,
Yeah.
and like they indirectly applied a rule to it, which is exactly what I'm saying. If they thought that making the health bar cast a shroud on half the screen was wrong, they would have already applied a indirect rule to it, just like they did for that specific situation where the animations were removed.
Now again, it's catch the beat. Don't forget that.
Okay, that's a valid point as well, but like we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. What
Yeah,
like
but like,
right
um,
now there is nothing to indicate that it wasn't that I mean they don't want it there. And if people have been bitching about it for the past months, and they haven't done anything about it, so I think at this point it's pretty safe to say that like they just don't care.
yeah, they don't care because it's catch the beat, but Smudgerox said that it's different. It's different, like from the standard thing I talked about, but not really.
I
Both are
yeah.
changing the AR, and both are like doing the same thing at the start, like making the reading easier and making easy like easier when other people look at it and be like, wow, this looks complicated, but it's actually just easier. It's just like the exploit, just reversed kinda, because like it makes it look higher AR while the Notepad exploit makes it look lower AR. Like it's just exactly the same but reversed, and yet it's not taken like they haven't done anything, and it it reached a lot of people because 224DG streamed that while being hosted by Reimu, so 250 people were watching a guy using an exploit on stream, and in my opinion, this is fucking dumb, and all his easy plays should be removed from the game. But yeah, how is it not even
I
close?
think that's radical thinking, my man. I think that's some radical thinking right there.
Yes, it is pretty
Um,
much.
again, going back to the yeah, it's not even close to the notepad.
Yeah,
To the
yeah,
notepad
but
thing.
like
But
it's the same.
going back to it, like again, I think by this point, if they really intended to remove it, they would have removed it. And it's not
Yeah,
because they don't know yet, because they probably do. That he's probably been messaged a couple hundred times at this point. Like, if it's so radical that it needs to be fixed, it would have been fixed at this point. Because even like if when we look at the notepad thing wasn't okay. The notepad thing within 24 hours it got the simple patch. I mean, I'm not saying it's completely fixed because we already talked about this, but it got patched so that most people can't do it.
yeah,
Like, even though a lot of the community just went by unnoticed. Like a lot of people did notice it. There by the next morning, there were 2,000 views on Amlink's video. So at least 2,000 people looked at the video and realized that they could cheat in the game. But and let's take on that like friends telling friends and friends telling friends. Let's say 5,000 people or 4,000 people. Let's say double the amount of people's like knew about the hack. Within 24 hours, it was fixed. Now, by this point, I think the health bar shroud would have been discussed enough that if it was a real concern, it would have been patched. Because it's not like again, even though the notepad thing hadn't expanded to the point where it broke the entire leaderboards because everyone was doing it, it got patched fairly quickly.
yeah. But that's the now. Do you think that if it only worked for Catch the Beat, would it be like patched that fast? Because one of the reasons was because
it
there's
would
a
have
lot of
I think
AR11 players in Stancock.
I think it would have still been patched as fast. Because there was probably like an intentional patch coming that day because there were a couple of other fixes in that patch as well. And it was actually the notepad fix actually wasn't mentioned in the patch. Like that's how subtle everything was. Like Peppy did nothing like mentioned nothing about it. And that's where it gets really creepy because Peppy did what everyone else should have done, which is instead of being Amlink and posting a video on YouTube about how to exploit the game, he should have just PM'd Peppy and been like, "This is wrong. This needs to be fixed. This is the list of people that I know are using it." And it would have been swept under the rug. Nobody would have noticed. The exploit would have stopped working for a lot of people, and it would have gone away. But now that people
Yeah,
know about it, as we said, hackers can try and exploit the bug again. Now by hacking and trying to remove the safe lines, like in it. So like, going back to it, like Peppy handled it pretty seriously, and pretty well to be honest, which is how it should have been handled, secretly and quickly. If the bug had been only for Catch the Beat, it would have probably still gathered enough attention to be patched the same day, because of how easy the fix was to do within 24 hours.
yeah, but like, I think I think really like that it got patched so fast. Like it was patched like in I don't know maybe 5-10 hours.
Well, it got patched
Is
so fast
because
because it still affected the other game modes, right? But for example, even if it didn't affect the other game modes, within the first 24 hours, it would have probably been patched because regardless if it affects the other game modes or not, it still affects the leaderboards. And Peppy is all about the leaderboards. I don't know if you realize this,
Yeah.
but Peppy
Yeah.
loves his leaderboard. Despite how broken it might be, he loves it. And he loves maintaining it. So much that multi-accounting is probably the worst thing you can ever do. So, like, I truly put my trust on him when I say it would have probably been fixed within the first 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of true too.
But yeah, any other questions in chat? Any other topics for us to discuss?
But like, yeah, it's not really a problem of who found it and who found about the Notepad thing. It's
think,
just that
yeah.
it got out.
I
Like the
think
problem isn't who found it. Like no one gives a shit about that. A lot of people probably knew it from a long time and just kept it to not create drama like it just did. And someone that, like, to be honest, Amling should have just sent it to Peppy like on mail or something like this and not make all that shitty drama. That was really fucking. That was really fucking dumb of him. But I
it's
don't know.
it's probably Vince, but you should ask him.
Yeah,
Uh,
Vince thinks I don't mind. And
Now,
no, I don't have any
one
preference about it.
again, one of the things that we're just gonna talk about human nature for this one. But for example, I've worked at an office once, and I actually got the love of the IT guy from work because every time there was something wrong with my computer, I would tell him, and I would tell him exactly what the symptoms were and what I thought was causing it. And he would, like, at one point he actually said, like, the first time I told him, actually, he said, "Thank you. You're doing exactly what everyone else isn't doing." Because if you go and tell a programmer, "I found a bug or an exploit," they'll be like, "I didn't notice it. Thank you very much," and they'll fix it. But if, again, we go back to the human nature of, let's leave it on the side, we can work around it later. People knew about the exploit, 5 years ago, but either because they didn't want to tell people, or because they wanted to use it for themselves, or because they didn't want to cause drama, either way, it didn't ever really get fixed because it was swept under the rug enough that now, I heard from Smudge, actually, that Peppy did know about this. I'm not sure if I should trust that or not. Like, I just don't know if he did or did not know. But if he did not know, it got swept under the... No, I mean, if he did know, it got swept under the rug enough that... I mean, it didn't cause drama until now. So it worked. Whatever his decision was to avoid it, it worked. Because it just wasn't relevant up until today. I mean, up until a few days ago. But had he just... Oh, it wasn't from Smudge? I think it was... I thought it was from you, but it might have been someone else. I don't know who I was talking to. Ascendance, maybe? I don't know. I've talked to too many people recently. I can't keep track of who I'm conversing at this point. But yeah, like... If Peppy had known, his decision to leave it under the rug worked out. So at least we can say that worked. And I wouldn't judge him for not fixing it at that point, because honestly, it just didn't cause drama until right now. So whatever he tried doing, it worked. Yeah, Amlink is very, very intelligent.
Yeah, we saw that.
Okay. Any other questions, chat? This was actually a pretty good pretty good stream, to be honest. To think that a
Turned out
talk
pretty well.
to think that a talk show actually got to 9 viewers in my stream, it's like, whoa. Cause like I only get 9 viewers when I'm like tryharding really badly. Steve, PM me on Discord and don't show it on stream. Okay. I'll have to get into Discord though.
Oh, Smudger Rocks confirmed the exploit. This is how you create drama. You think people wanna keep secret of stuff, and boom, drama.
Fucking whore.
There we go. And this is what's going on lately.
First thing that
pretty
happens
much.
when I join Discord is I hear fucking whore. It's like, what the hell? What the hell is going
Nice.
on? Ban Shire for racism. I think he's fine. I think who was it that followed me midstream? Was it you, Shire? Because I didn't get to see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
name.
that was him.
Yeah.
I think that was him, probably. Oh, actually, it wasn't him. Okay.
Okay, somebody else did, but I remember Shire laughing about it, and I was just like, yeah, that was hilarious. I was just like, Vink, stop for a second. Thank you for following. It's like, continue. But yeah, I mean, if there's no more questions, then I think this stream is basically done. So,
Yeah.
are there any finishing topics, questions that the chat wants us to deal with? Silence.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can play too. I unfortunately would need to restart Osu for that. Because I would need to update it to like. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I would just need to start full screen mode. This should work. Except you're gonna see me play really crappily because this is fallback, and fallback has an extra like solid 20 milliseconds of delay. I actually don't have anything. Oh, I can play Vinx's map actually.
Hey, it's pretty good.
Where's adjusting a cable? One map. I'm only gonna play one map. I don't really want to play right now. Wait, what the hell? Oh, it's because it's autoplay on. Oh. You get in the lab and play with the chemicals. Give me. Oh, I thought they were saying play a song with chemical in the name, but apparently not. Your map is burning through my stamina right now. I'm too tired.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
left,
so it's-
right, fiesta.
Oh,
so
God.
yeah.
Like no, I'm. It's 2 a.m. here, I think, at this point. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
2 a.m. Like like I'm not like extremely tired, but I'm tired enough that like I wouldn't want to play this map or anything hard for that matter.
It's like 11 a.m. here.
We're gonna put Shire's womanly arm on stream. Main desktop. Let's move it over here. This is so womanly. I think you have a rash right there. You might want to get that checked by a doctor. Just saying. I'm just kidding. It looks more like you scratched or something. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I have this little red dot somewhere here, somewhere right there. I scratched a little bit too much. See? But it's like those woman hands. Oh God, the chat. All right. Well, we looked at spreadsheets. We looked at mapping. Oh God. And a lot of stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
So now that we've
This has
looked
been
at,
going on for like 3 hours.
yeah, we're at 2 hours and 45 minutes at the moment.
Holy shit.
I know, right? So this ends our first discussion video. Thank you, Vinx, for I gotta go back to the deep voice just to end the video at least. Thank you, Vinx, for joining us tonight in this epic podcast discussing the Notepad-Gate, the Catch the Beat ranking system, and some of the dramas around it, as well as a lot of other interesting topics that we dealt tonight. Thank you very much, Vinx, for joining us. Do you have any messages for the public before we end the stream?
Not really. I guess the usual thanks for having me stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're welcome. No problem.
And yeah, that's it pretty much.
I do have the Kagamine twins as my background. If you see my other background, it's actually Rin. It's a custom background made by user Spectral Fire. He is pretty good. So, now that we've dealt with everything, I am fairly confident we can end the stream. So thank you everybody for watching. If you were watching this live, if you're watching this on YouTube a couple days later or in the future, thank you very much for the viewership, and let's hope we can bring this segment back once more drama happens and Catch the Beat. Because eventually something stupid will happen and we'll have more things to talk about. but as for now, thank you very much for watching, guys. Like the video if you liked it. Disliked it if you disliked it. Some shit like that. Sub to the channel. Follow the Twitch account. The Twitch account actually is gonna get some more love once I actually start streaming again. I kind of want to speedrun Resident Evil again. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.